Welcome to the Horror Hangout, a podcast where film fans watch the best and worst horror movies of all time and talk about them. My name is Ben Errington, and today I am joined by regular co-host Mr.
Andy Conduit Turner. Hello, Ben. Nice to be back. We've been on split shifts for a few weeks, haven't we?
Split shifts, crossing, passing like ships in the night. It's been nice to have a break from you occasionally. That sounds mean. I don't mean it like that. And we're also
means you
joined...
miss them more when you're all back together. Lovely.
That's true. That is true. I have missed you. And we are also joined by a very, very special returning guest. It's Lucy. She's the senior staff writer, What to Watch Now, and a Rotten Tomatoes critic. Welcome back to the show, Lucy. Hello.
Hello. Thanks for having me back. It's been a very long time. So
it's been a long time. I just realised I single named you as well. Lucy Buglass, isn't it? Yes. Why did
that is my name. Yes. Yeah.
That is your name. Again, I say this every time. Have I said it correct?
You have, yeah.
Oh,
you just got it now, Ben.
50. It's a 50-50.
Full confidence.
I'm terrible.
Yeah, lots of people get it wrong, so you got it right. Well done.
Thank you.
Nailed it.
I didn't want to sing. I didn't want to only single name you like Beyonce or Prince. You might like that. I don't know.
That's your evolution. I'm like Ronaldo now. The Lucy.
I mean, so I'll just become Lucy. Yeah.
Lucy.
I tell you what, Lucy. Another change apart from dropping one of your names. The killers in this film are taller than the films we usually discuss with you, aren't they? Usually it's a little wee girl or little people.
Yes, we have had a track record of talking about that kind of thing. Yeah.
Talking about little uns. Wait, so it's only been orphan and it's only been orphan twice, right? There's not been any other little uns.
Oh, we had Fright Fest, but that's already a medley.
Killing people in that. Interesting.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'd say if the three killers from this film all stood on each other's shoulders, probably the tallest killer in any film we've discussed on the podcast so far.
That's true.
We talked about Godzilla. He's real tall. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, Godzilla's
top
pretty
5.
Tall. Yeah.
He's mahoosive, isn't he? If you didn't realize already, we're talking about The Strangers, who are lovely. They're very nice. They're very nice they're just knocking on your door. Cold calling. Oh God. Bloody hell.
Man,
who's
the
this?
real psychopaths are. Come on, should have known. Knocking at someone's door. Oh yuck. What happens in the next one? Be phoning them.
Hello, can I speak to the head of the household, please? Not me. It's not me. Oh, see if my mum's in. And it was odd because with this film, I knew we had to cover it because we hadn't covered it before, and then I knew that somebody somewhere had said that this was one of their favourites, and I took a guess. I reckon it was an informed guess.
Closed your eyes, walking through the corridors of Horror Hangout Towers, and then you open the door behind the strangers, and there's Lucy
with a sack on her head.
It was me all along.
It was you all along.
I'm the one in the middle right there. Yeah, that's me.
Oh, old sack man with a little smiley face. Why has he got such a different mask aesthetic to the other two?
His face is too big for. You can't buy one of those plastic like Halloween masks that go over your face. His eyes would be like hanging out the side.
Yeah, I don't know. It kind of ruins the aesthetic a bit, doesn't it? Like they've all decided, let's all meet up in these types of masks, like doll masks, and he's turned up with a sack on her head, and they've gone.
They've arranged it. Maybe the elastic's gone on his doll one. It's like, I said, we've got a stapler. No, why would I bring a stapler to a murder? Well, I'll just have to wear the bag then.
Whoa, we'll draw a smiley face on it at least. God, this is all going to be explored in the prequel to this film, which is Before They Were Strangers,
which is about him shopping.
Which is about him shopping and deciding who they're going to kill. Anyone who's home. So what is your relationship with these films then, Lucy? So you're a big fan of the original. Do you remember when you first saw it?
Yeah, so this was one of my when I was in school, like back in the day. One of the first horror films I remember watching. Picked it up from HMV or something and watched it. Well, not me, it would have been my mum that picked it up for me. And then I watched it and was like, this is pretty cool. And then it was kind of like a gateway into like other horrors that I watched. So like I remember watching this, I watched the first Saw film, and there was a bunch of others that kind of brainwashed me over the years. So this film is the reason I am the way that I am. So take that as you will.
Oh,
lovely.
Yeah, man.
Explains a lot. I hope you don't just knocking on random people's houses and just like, can I come going in and putting your own music on?
You know, thankfully for people in the neighborhood, I'm too lazy to do that. So, you know, they've kind of, they're lucky.
Yeah, again, knocking on the doors. I have a very specific history with this film, Ben. Owes to a little scary story. I've got like my close to tell you this one. So I first saw this film. It was already on home video release by the time I saw it. I saw it on DVD and a film I bought while we lived in Poland, and we were there at the time. Bought a DVD. Thought it was some horror films. It's getting to the right time of year. Got some horror films to watch. Most TV in Poland, surprisingly, no one is in Polish, which we don't speak particularly well. So it was a lot of watching movies. If we were at home, so we sat one evening and we watched The Strangers in the run up to Halloween. Now, Poland in the winter, exceptionally cold, snowy, like it was. I think it was like late October, early November. So already it's quite dark in the evenings. It's cold. There's already snow on the ground, and we didn't know that many people. We weren't really going out much in the evening, so we were in for the night. Didn't know anyone who would just call around at a house. And we lived in like it was almost like a post-communist, like a big block of flats, big heavy construction, like a concrete building, dark concrete stairs coming up to our flat. Flat was lovely inside, big steel door to get in, so really solid door. And then one evening that we were just there, we were settled in for the evening. It was not particularly late, but it was already quite dark. And then a knock comes at the door. A little spy hole. And I went and looked out. No one. Lights off in the corridor. It was like automatic lights, so you would press a button, you get like 30 seconds of light before it goes off. Already pitch black out there. So no one. So I thought, oh, must have been the neighbors, knocked on the wrong door, carried on, or like, just someone coming back drunk or something like that. Just tapped on the door, walked off. Carried on back into the house. A few seconds later, another knock at the door. Went over, could see no one through the spyglass, put my eye to it. Shouted, hello? No answer whatsoever. And then again, went back, and then another knock at the door, like a big, heavy, like triple, won't do it, the dogs will bark, but like a big, heavy knock at the door. So this time we got getting like a little bit concerned, shouted hello again. No answer out of the door. Again, we didn't know anyone. We'd watched this film like 2 days before. So this knock coming at the door, and didn't know what to do about it. Didn't know anyone who would call around a house. Had only been there a couple of months, spoke worse Polish than we ever would after a year living there. Like we practically nothing at this point. Just didn't really know what to do. And these knocks keep coming at the door, and it felt like ages. In reality, in hindsight, it was probably 5-10 minutes, but like it was knocks coming at the door all the time. We didn't know what to do. It's like we were clearly shouting hello and getting no answer at the door. So don't know what to do. My wife, just my girlfriend at the time, was saying, just leave it. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's a big, heavy door. No one can ever get in. But then I became increasingly freaked out because I was the flat was all on one level. And from the front door, it was a straight walk through down one corridor with doors to the other rooms off the other side. I was at the far end of the corridor away from the front door when I heard another knock and turned around. And as I looked, I could see there was light coming through the spy hole at the end of the road, saying, okay, someone's actually out there now. And then as I was watching it, I could see like something slide across. So someone was clearly covering the spy hole, so you couldn't see who was through the door.
Dodgy.
And as this went on, we were getting more and more concerned, more and more worried as to who it was that was at the door and why they were so persistently knocking. They weren't saying anything when we answered. We didn't know anyone who would call for us. The only person we knew were our boss and our colleagues who would phone us if they wanted anything. And started to get a little bit worried. And we thought, like, do we phone the police? But then I wasn't even sure of the number there, let alone what I would say to a police operator in Poland who wouldn't necessarily speak English. I had no idea. So we puzzled over this for a while, and these knocks at the door kept coming. And eventually we came up with the very sensible plan that I would wait near the door and wait for the next knock, at which point I would fling the door open and be ready to backpedal quickly if I needed to, depending on who it was. The first entryway from the corridor where our front door was the kitchen, which was about 3-4 paces from the front door. My wife was at the time girlfriend was round the corner from in the kitchen with a knife, ready to stab the shit out of it was if it was an attacker.
Oh
But it
God.
was one of the strangers, old Sackhead himself. So here we are, waiting in the semi-dark. We turned some of the lights off. I think earlier, having decided we'd just try to pretend to be out. Another knock came at the door, big, like heavy, boom, boom, boom. Flung the door open into this corridor which was fully lighted. Someone was there with a thingy, and like, well, what do you want? Like, and it was a teenage Polish girl who said, obviously really put aback by the fact foreigner just flung the door open and shouted at her. She's like, hi, is Magda in? And I was like, no, and like slammed the door, and she went away. And it wasn't the strangers after all. It was just a girl that I eventually terrified by opening the door and shouting at. But I tell you what a time.
But
absolutely
why?
bricking
I
it for
just want to
hours,
know
for
why.
ages.
What's she doing out there?
Never saw her again. So yeah,
Why is she
like
not knocking on the door like a normal person? Why is she trying to freak you out?
I mean, that's what
And
the
is
strangers did
Magda
as well,
there?
knocking on the door.
Is Magda there? Come up with a more believable Polish name, for God's sake. That's what I'd come up with.
Yeah.
But we were absolutely so then I enjoyed the film, but now that real life experience that followed directly after seeing it for the first time cemented in my memory to ever that time that we almost stabbed to death someone who was just knocking on the wrong door. But
Almost died.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, I mean,
insane.
I didn't know where that story was going to go.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe
took
you were going to
years off
stab
me.
someone. I feel like I've heard that story before, though. I can't remember if it was on this podcast.
I
Or
might have told you about that as a spooky time. I sent it into Who Spooky the podcast as well when they wanted listener stories and told them that story.
It was just
yeah, terrifying experience.
I think when the door knocks like at a certain time of night, it is proper dodgy.
It's the strangers, don't answer it.
It's the bloody strangers, isn't it? Yeah. And this is definitely the kind of film I think if you watch it, it probably would stick with you for a while. Like every time the door knocked, and also these houses are so like dimly lit. I feel like you just get a big light on, wouldn't you? You sit a big light on. Don't let anyone hide in a corner. Have the big light on, as many brightly colored lights as possible.
Yeah, get the big lights on. Have the dogs kicking off, like all the things that like stuff. And I mean, again, I guess probably uniquely US, if not just countryside places. Wouldn't get that living in London. None of these abandoned houses. Nearest neighbours on top of you. You'd be all right.
Exactly. You would be okay. And I know we are going to talk about the sequel to The Strangers a little bit as well, which we've all seen too, but I'm assuming
The Strangers Go Camping.
The Strangers go to a lovely American Butlins or something. I don't know.
They
I don't know what's
do.
going on.
Pontins.
Is it Pontins? But Lucy, you said you're not as big a fan of that one.
Yeah, it's just my natural bias towards sequels. I just think that the first one was so cool and so like, well, not new, but like just like the first time we'd seen these three characters and whatever. Like just doing it again, I was kind of like, it didn't really offer anything particularly new for me. And I also liked the characters a lot less, which didn't help. And just thought it was a bit a bit sillier than the first one. Like the first one is a bit unserious in places, which we'll get into. But I do think like in general, it's just a bit like just too campy. It just didn't really fit. But that's just me. I mean, you guys might like it, but it's just I haven't really got many nice things to say about it.
Stylistically, it is like proper out there. They've gone from like I know the concept is similar to a degree, but like the fact that they've got power ballads, neon soaked like visuals, and like some decisions that they make with the characters, where I'm almost like, are they like obviously it's written by the guy who wrote the first one, so is that right? I think that's right.
Yeah.
It is.
But I just kept thinking, what if they gave this to another director, and the other director was like, right, that's it. I'm just gonna, spoilers of course for The Strangers Pray at Night, kill all the main villains. It just seems like, I was like, are you allowed to do that? But then again,
there is the joy in it. I guess they could be that could be a big old gang, and that could be the holiday park chapter of The Strangers. The original recipe strangers might still be at large.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And if we don't see their faces, we don't have to worry about recasting. and maybe there is like some sort of like spooky supernatural element to it as well, where you're like, hang on, have they just are they back again? Well, that kind of does happen towards the end of The Strangers Prey at Night. And I did want to mention, of course, there is a new trilogy of films coming out of The Strangers. And I was confused by this because I'd seen the first one, I'd never seen the sequel. I didn't really know, like, obviously the first one's very standalone and it doesn't really affect much else around it. It definitely doesn't set up a sequel in particular. I know easily a sequel is able to follow on from that. But yeah, so I didn't really know what this new trilogy was going to be. I was like, oh, The Strangers Chapter 1 sounds like it's going to be a prequel, but apparently not. So it's an upcoming slasher film directed by Rennie Harlin, and it's the first installment of a new trilogy of standalone sequel films where Chapter 1 will follow a similar premise to the original. And the plot centers around a couple who come into contact with three psychopathic mass strangers while on a road trip. So maybe it's like, just here's another time the strangers did that thing they do, and here's 3 films of it.
Yeah, they could probably jigsaw it, couldn't they? If they wanted them all to fit in, they could say this all happens between then and then. You could understand, like, Mr. Sackhead could get his love for 80s power ballads. Where do they, when do they do their truck up? All these things.
Yeah.
Practicing throwing something at someone's windscreen just so it always gets them and forces them to career into a terrible crash.
The final shot of well, not the shot, but the final sequence in The Strangers Prey at Night was very Texas Chainsaw Massacre, wasn't it?
I mean, you say very exactly Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
It was exactly Texas Chainsaw Massacre, is what I'm saying. All right. Maybe he loves power ballads because he's like, there was a great time when I murdered someone to this song. It was fantastic.
The memory triggering power of song.
Yeah, I'm ready to kill again. Okay, so yes, before we talk about that film, we will talk about horror news. Not all that much, but I got a little bit to discuss. Don't know if you've seen any stories this week. Christopher Nolan has said he'd really love to make a horror film, but he's looking for a really exceptional idea. And then this next quote has kind of got, that line in particular has got horror fans up in arms. So they're like, oh yeah, what? Because he says those are few and far between. So I don't know if he means horror movie ideas that are good are few and far between, or he means my idea for a horror movie in general is few and far between. Because a lot of people have been going, what do you know, Christopher Nolan? Get your IMAX camera round this and stuff.
How about Christopher Nolan? You stay out of horror and just have some properly passable dialogue in one of your films without the bloody subtitles on for a change. Got him. How's about that, eh? How's about you let us see Tom Hardy's lips move, right? How about that, eh?
That'd be nice.
Once in your bloody life.
I'd love it.
Yeah.
How about you let Batman move his head when he's fighting, all right? He's
he's like
they do make him have a better neck in one of the latter films.
I mean, aside from this, I mean, unless one of you has an exact answer, is this just something I've heard, or is Christopher Nolan's brother an assassin? He's got 2. There's one that helps him write things, and there's another one that may or may not be an assassin.
What, like a real life assassin?
Yeah,
not a secret one, because that's terrible if everyone knows.
I mean,
knows it is.
If it's Googleable, then we'll know it isn't.
Googleable. It probably is Googleable. That's pretty cool if you're a family.
So don't slag him off.
Don't slag him off. If you're around the dinner table, directed any good films lately, Chris? I've done something called Oppenheimer. Actually, people are loving it. Oh yeah. Done any good assassinating lately? What's his name? Do we know his name? No.
The third assassin brother. There is. Fact check. Is Christopher Nolan's brother? There's an older brother, a hitman.
Oh, a hitman. That's a
hitman called Oppenheimer.
There's a distinct difference in hitman and assassin, right? Because we've played Hitman and we've played Assassin's Creed. Loads of different stuff going on there.
Okay, I'm only reading the first line of this, but apparently in 2009, Matthew Nolan was arrested and charged with the murder of an accountant in Costa Rica.
Oh,
wow.
Do some more research on your own, everybody. And there's no time for that right now.
Has he just turned around and said, I'm an assassin? I reckon he's just killed someone, and to make it sound cool, he's gone, I'm actually an assassin, so, I'm a hitman. That needed to be done. I'm a hitman.
Yeah, it's cooler when someone pays me to do it, yeah.
But his code name was Oppenheimer. Maybe that's what gave his brother the idea for the film?
No. I thought you were joking about that. Are you
No,
serious?
it's for real.
That's ridiculous. I bet he called himself Batman as well, did he? You heard, oh, did he leap off a building into a big hay bale as well, and just to get away? No. Great.
There we go.
What would
So,
a Christopher Nolan horror movie look like though? That's the thing.
Non-linear time delivery.
Yeah. Non-linear is good. I mean, Memento could be quite horror-ish if you added some. I don't know. I guess it is in a bit, kind of, in a way. There's some horrible stuff going on.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Like, Christopher Nolan makes fabulous films. It'd be an incredible spectacle.
Yeah.
But in other ways, there's lots of things I enjoy about horror, which isn't this is the biggest production of its entire time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I can't tell you that any of my favorite horror movies are my favorite horror movies because they are such a huge big screen spectacle.
Maybe
it's
you could go back to basics. Maybe you could go back to basics, you know?
Yeah, try spending less than 100 million
book.
on a film for bloody once in your life, Chris.
99.5 million, and that's my final offer, is what he says. Okay. Apart from that, another piece of news. Did you know Luc Besson is directing a film called Dracula? And it's a retelling of Bram Stoker's Gothic classic, something we definitely need. I'm looking forward to it. It's got Christoph Waltz in it. It's got Caleb Landry Jones, whose face I recognize. I've seen him in stuff. I think he's in Nope as like the brother of the in the family, I believe. Apparently he's gonna be Dracula. An adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula, a retelling of the 15th century Prince Vladimir. We all know the story, don't we? So I don't know if it's going to be, and Christoph Waltz, sorry, is going to be in it as well. I don't know what his role is going to be, but he's reunited with Luc Besson for the first time.
Feels like he's a bit of Van Helsing. He does Christoph Waltz, doesn't he? He could do a Van Helsing.
Yeah. Interesting.
I mean, everyone has to have a go at doing Dracula, don't they? It's like jury service.
If
you get a letter.
Is this like a prequel or a retelling of the early days? Because we've already seen that in Dracula Untold with Luke Evans, which was perfect. No, it wasn't. It wasn't very good, was it? If I remember correctly, was it not? I remember nothing about it apart from it wasn't very good.
I haven't
Dracula
seen it.
Untold. Do you want to know about Dracula before he was Dracula?
It's no Dead and Loving It. That's all I'm saying.
Not really. I think I went to the cinema to watch Dracula Untold, you know. Oh, and you could have seen it in 3D if you're up for that.
Oh God!
Speaking of 3D, though,
all the bats coming at your face. Whoa!
And Dracula news. I believe
Dracula news. More Dracula news.
Yeah, more Dracula news. I mean, not contemporary Dracula news, but I know it was on February's release list for Shudder. You can now, if you haven't already, watch Dario Argento's Dracula. From the year 2000, Dracula 3D in some territories. It's on Shudder as of this month. Maybe there already. I'll have a little Googs in a minute and see exactly when it is.
Interesting.
But if you haven't already experienced Dario Argento's Dracula, my goodness, my goodness,
I haven't.
He's got some powers in this. This Dracula, he'll punch someone's head off. He's got more transformations. Quick pop quiz. What things can Dracula transform into, everybody? Ben, you can go first.
Bat.
Lucy, any more Dracula transformations?
That's the only one that I've got. God damn it. I don't know.
He can turn into like a wolfman thing.
He can turn into a wolfman thing.
A pile of rats.
He can turn into a big pile of rats.
Yeah.
You know what he turns into in this one? I give you 100 guesses, you never get it. Big giant praying mantis that chops a man's head off.
Brilliant.
Oh my God!
But like
I'm gonna watch it now.
Like a man-sized one, like a scyther gets him.
A praying man-sized mantis. I recently watched Dario Argento's Panico, the documentary about all his films. Didn't mention his Dracula film once.
It's probably a whole episode for that. That's probably the follow-up. Honestly.
Oh, you think there's gonna be a sequel for it?
It's quite a time.
I'm getting it on the list because, yeah. Now I'm in the mood. I'm in the mood for that. Let's do it.
More Draculas.
Lovely.
Anything else in the news, Ben?
So, I don't know. Apparently, there's going to be a new shark movie from the director of Deep Blue Sea. It's called Deep Water, which I feel like there are about 9 films called that. But 25 years after the release of Deep Blue Sea, director Rennie Harlin is headed back to shark-infested waters with the upcoming Deep Water, starring Aaron Eckhart and Ben Kingsley. Can you believe it?
I feel like Aaron Eckhart is like an alternate universe version of
Thomas
Tom
Jane.
Jane.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think he is.
Cut from the same cloth.
Yeah. Tells the story of an eclectic group of international passengers whose plane, en route from Los Angeles to Shanghai, is forced to make an emergency landing in shark-infested waters. I mean, terrible.
Do you think that'd be the what? If you're on a plane, they think you'd probably get on a plane thinking you're entirely safe from sharks.
Exactly, yeah. And they're stuck on a sinking plane as a frenzy of sharks are drawn to the wreckage. Yeah, why not? Let's give it a go, innit? I'm up for that. I'm sold upon that. Yeah, sounds mad. But he did also direct a Nightmare on Elm Street film, didn't he? Did you know that, Andy?
Which one was that?
Number 4, Dream Master.
Dream Master, the next one we're due to cover, Ben.
Yeah, we better get on it, haven't we? We better
The
get on it.
next Freddy film we're due to cover. Are you
Also-
a fan of a creature movie, Lucy? Do you like a shark attack? Not in your life,
Yeah.
in your entertainment.
Well, no, not in real life. I have a soft spot for the really shit ones though. So like things like
Yeah.
Sharknado, any Sharktopus, any kind of weird sci-fi film they put on at like 2 a.m. That's entirely
Three-headed
my
shark
jam.
attack with the Hulk
Love it,
Hogan's
love it.
daughter.
I want 6-headed shark attack. I want as many heads as you can put on a shark. I
Oh.
think they're brilliant.
Love
But I
Mecha
do
Shark
like
versus Mega Shark with
Yep.
with Kratos
Yep.
himself.
That's a good one. Well, good. I've seen I love Deep Blue Sea and I love things like Jaws and I love stuff like that, but I just think the shitter the better. Like I think if you're gonna do a shark film, it should just be out there because we've kind of seen it all before. You know, I want to see something mental.
We just want to see sharks in a place we've not seen sharks before, essentially, isn't it?
Yeah,
Sharks
like
are
just put them somewhere. Like there's a one called Sand Sharks where they can literally be in the sand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And
an odd one.
There's Ouija Shark, where I guess one gets someone with a Ouija board. There's Ghost Shark, where they can appear from anything that is water. They just teleport through it like the Candyman.
Oh,
House
anything is
Shark,
water.
where it's in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet there's an
I'm
Amityville
so
Shark.
serious.
I feel like Christopher Nolan looking for any good horror movie idea that a truly unique place we haven't seen sharks before. That's few and far between these days.
Yeah, that's true. Where? Just in your house? In a shopping centre?
There is. It's called Bait. That's the one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yes, I've seen that one. Yeah, I've seen that one.
Oh yeah. Maybe a really specific place in the shopping centre. The Argos.
Argus. Oh, and the trailer would be someone flicking through the catalogue, and then they type in the number of something that they want.
Because even if
a
it's
shark comes up the conveyor belt, he chops them.
Because even if it was full to the brim water in there, you'd still be able to look at the catalogue because it was laminated.
Yeah, it'd be perfectly safe. Oh no, how we order the things we need to escape. How we know that we're in stock? I'll use the little stock checker. 3.
Oh, that's stock, bloody hell. Great stuff. I think we've got it.
I would watch that.
Got it. Chris Nolan, I know you're out there listening. Please get in touch.
Hit us up. I mean, I tell you what, we'll strike a deal with you now. If you'll agree to we'll workshop the name Argus Shark, then we'll throw in Boo Year's Eve.
Well, like one word, Argus Shark.
Argus Shark.
This is great. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Cool.
That's all I got for news. No one else has got any news?
What have you been watching, everybody?
Non-horror news. So what we've been watching, has anybody seen anything in the last 7 days? Or Lucy, it could be more than 7 days, seeing as you're not on the show every week. Anything horror or horror adjacent that you would like to recommend at all?
I did watch The Burning Girls, which is very good. But they've since taken it off Paramount Plus. I don't actually know how you can watch it, which is very annoying.
Oh, no.
But it's basically like about a priest who goes back to an old town, and it's very folklore kind of stuff. It's got Samantha Morton in it. It's very good.
Okay.
But I don't know where to watch it because Paramount Plus were just like, nah. Don't know why they did that.
Paramount Plus, how dare you?
I know, right? It might be on my 5 in the UK actually, but I don't know for anybody else out there listening. So I watched The Burning Girls. I watched what's it called? I love when you blank in the middle of a podcast. It's great.
That's okay.
Fool Me Once, which isn't a horror. It's a
Oh
very
yeah, that's
far-fetched
that the Netflix
thriller,
thing. Yeah.
and I enjoyed it. Like don't get me wrong, it's a very, very typical like Harlan Coben like thriller, but it's a good binge watchy one. That was fun. And then aside from that, I've been watching a lot of trash TV, really. Just because sometimes you need it.
Yeah, that's all right.
Watch a lot of rubbish. Watch a lot of things like Catfish, stuff like that.
We've discussed
Gotta
it
switch off
before.
sometimes.
We've discussed Catfish
film.
before.
I spent 90% of that
My
film
go-to.
not sure it wasn't a horror.
Yeah. Do you know what? Like the original documentary does feel very horror-like. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
You feel he's going to get there and it's going to be Deborah Logan
Especially
who's been
towards
chatting
the
to on
end.
the
Gonna get
internet.
stabbed or something. Yeah, but no,
Yeah.
like when people say what you've been watching, it's usually always Catfish, just because it's easy.
Catfish. I feel like we've discussed Catfish before.
We probably have. I
It has
talk about it
got
a lot.
this. Every episode, I feel like, has got. If it pans out almost exactly the same way every episode. It's only like every 10 episodes something mad happens that you're not expecting. But I never get bored of it ever. I go, what's that? Someone's just scamming you for money. Great. I'm interested.
Or
What's that?
they've
Someone's lying.
lied. They've lied, but they've got a good
It's
heart.
your ex-husband again. Oh shit! Like
Yeah. It's the friend.
Every time.
It's the friend who got in touch with the show. It's her. It was her all along.
Oh.
I'd love it if I
Yeah.
watched it just once and it was like a dog. Like the
Yeah.
end of Silent Hill 2, just pulling
When it's
those levers.
When it's something mad, it is fantastic because it's like finding a true diamond in the rough where you're like, hang on a minute, this is epic.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's a big old pile of rats that have got into clothes.
And they're using the internet. They've somehow got the internet, the bloody bastards.
They're ever so advanced. They live in such proximity to people they've mastered it.
Yeah.
The
Big
only,
sewer rats.
the only
I
thing
eat
I've got
it up
mentioned-
every season. Love it.
Amazing times. Oh, you might have seen this, Andy. I don't know. Have you seen Destroy All Neighbors?
I did see Destroy All
You did
Neighbors. I
see
mentioned
Destroy All
it very
Neighbours.
quickly a few weeks ago. What did you reckon, Ben? Now you've caught
You
up
did
with
mention it already. Well, sorry, Andy. Did you? Was I here?
I only mentioned it very quickly.
Oh, how quickly we're talking? Destroy All Neighbors.
Like saw Destroy All
That's
Neighbors.
it.
It's real good. Yeah.
All right. Well, I finally
Did
saw
you-
Destroy All Neighbors. I say finally. It's only been out a couple of weeks, isn't it? Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was very goofy. Lots of fun cameos. Fun practical effects. Yeah, I liked it. You liked it too?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like Alex Winter is almost unrecognizable in the amount of prosthetics they put him, and he has another cameo in a normal role as well.
Absolutely
But,
unbelievable that is Alex Winter.
yeah,
I was just like, excuse me. There's absolutely no way. For ages, I was like, I could swear to
coming into
God
it?
that is Robert De Niro. That's what I kept thinking. That's Robert De Niro. There's no way that's anyone else. No, it's Alex Winter. He does love prosthetics, and he's done that a few times in Bill and Ted.
it was a lot of fun. I like the comedy. I really like Jonah, who the main character Jonah. He was in the latest series of Mystery Science Theater as well, and it's a good laugh. Talented
Awesome, yeah.
musician as well.
Oh, do you reckon he was involved in a lot of the music?
Yeah,
in-
he
in
does a lot of the
films, so?
music. He does a few musical numbers in Mystery Science Theater. He does an excellent song, which you should also look up. It's like Every Monster Has a Country, where he does like a lovely freestyle, quite fast-paced rap song about all of the folklore monsters in every country of the world. Very, very
That's
good.
amazing. That's lovely. I'd love to hear that. And the only other thing I watched, which isn't horror, but I'll mention it anyway, is the Iron Claw, the new wrestling movie with Zac Efron and what's his flavor from The Bear that everyone's loving because he's in that Calvin Klein's pants advert. Jeremy Allen White, that guy,
That's him.
who also looks like Gene Wilder, a young Gene Wilder. I keep
He
thinking
should have been Wonka.
maybe more attractive, but a young Gene Wilder. The Iron Claw, so the story of the Von Erich family, which is like a big, horrible real life tragedy. It's actually mad the kind of stuff that happened to this family, and I'd seen it on a documentary before. And if you're like into wrestling, I think you always know the story of that. But it is a heart wrenching, like, I mean, there's a couple of scenes in particular. Zac Efron is great. Just the emotional and physical demanding performances that must have gone into it. And yeah, I think if you like The Wrestler, which I think if you like any film where there's like a sort of, it's not like a down and out, but it's a very sort of intense, emotional sports story. I think if you like anything like that, you're gonna enjoy this. There's some really great cinematic storytelling, and it's very sometimes when films sometimes are like set in the 70s and 80s, and you're like, yeah, but I don't quite believe it. But with this, I felt like I was right there. Even when they've got what's the song that's always in the bloody 80s films?
Don't Fear the Reaper, Blue Oyster Cult.
Don't Fear the Reaper, Don't Blue Oyster
Was it
Cult.
on?
It really was. As soon as that plays, as soon as that song plays, you know what you're in for. Just imagine that. That's all you need to hear. I think it's in the trailer as well.
I don't know where the members of Blue Oyster Cult are today, but I'm sure they've retired comfortably on all of the royalties from every film soundtrack that song has been on.
I mean, I haven't seen many of the films that have been nominated for Oscars, so I probably can't speak upon it. But I think The Iron Claw and Poor Things were two films that I was desperate to see that the US kind of got last year. And I've been blown away by both of them. They're probably like, they would have easily been maybe like my top 1 and 2 films of last year if I'd seen them last year. So starting off 2024 very strongly with Zac Efron, with Zac Efron six pack and pecs and mad hair. Have you seen anything, Andy?
Not so much as I had in recent weeks, Ben's, with a couple of absolute bonanzas. But
yeah,
a couple of bits I saw. I saw Unholy, aka Jeffrey Dean Morgan versus Jump Scares.
Oh God.
That's what happens. Basically, there is someone chipping about doing miracles, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan is a disgraced reporter who thinks this will be a good story because this girl really starts performing miracles. Unfortunately, the saint is not Mary, aka Jesus's mom, doing miracles. It's a horrible demon who just happens to have the same name and is all amongst it, doing bad miracles with power to steal people's souls and to jump scare Jeffrey Dean Morgan about 8 times. Yeah. I've probably given a more negative opinion of it than it is. It's fine, but it wasn't expressly exciting.
Is this fairly new, this film?
A couple of years, maybe last year.
2021. It looks like The Unholy. Okay.
Yeah, a couple of years. It's all right. If it's a proper film, I think if it was on telly late at night, probably sit through it. It's okay.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, there's a real life horror that we'll finish on. I had to experience this for my myself, but bit of TV. Again, not directly horror, but plenty of gore and scary scenes. I've started season 2 of Halo. The first series of Halo, I like Halo just enough to get the most out of. I like Halo enough that I go, oh, that's the sound of that weapon I like from the game, and oh, I know who that is. I recognize your face. But I don't like it so much that I lose my mind. He took his helmet off. I can't take it. I like it just enough. I'm in that sweet spot. And the second series has started really well. The action's really solid. There are people getting killed by like invisible aliens in like a spooky, misty scene in the opening, like the cold open of the new series. It's a lot of fun. I like a bit of sci-fi and I like a bit of Halo. So that's just bloody lovely. But other than that, couple of things I watched yesterday. I've been trying to catch up on some films over Joe, and so I watched, I'd say this is horror adjacent. It's got haunting in the title. I watched A Haunting in Venice yesterday. So what Hercule Poirot's been up to. Leans into a bit of the supernatural a little bit of a fun mystery. I love a murder mystery. He's a decent Poirot, is that guy. Old Kenneth Branagh, I enjoyed that just fine.
Big back Kenny
However,
Branagh.
None of the horrors will compare to... I've had to go and do it, lads. I've had to go and see just how bad Madam Web was.
Oh no, I'm
God.
so sorry.
No way. Oh, I haven't actually spoken to anyone in real life yet who's seen it. So, hit me. Have you both seen it?
No, but I've heard terrible, terrible things. Terrible things.
Okay.
I had to go and see it. I think the strongest piece of marketing that I've actually seen for this movie is something I saw on Facebook where it was like, guess which 9 of these unbelievable things actually happens in Madam Web, and then at the bottom it says, just joking, they all do.
Wow.
Every single one of them. And I had to watch it, and honestly,
every interview I've seen with Dakota Johnson, is that her name?
Yeah.
Every interview I've seen, it's like she has no idea that she was even in the film. Like she just goes, like people keep asking her questions, like, "What do you think about this that happened in the film?" She's like, "What?" She like did it, and I think they even say at one point, "Can you name the 3 Spider-Man movies starring Tom Holland?" Which is a bit mean. It's almost it's the equivalent of seeing someone with a band T-shirt on and saying, "Name 3 songs right now." But she says something like,
that being said, not to be gatekeepy, but just thinking of the things, surely with any foresight, you know, when you're interviewing any kind of like genre or geek media, that you're saying that you are setting your cast member up for a fall if your production team didn't go, oh, and by the way, you don't have to watch these 3 films, you don't have to care about them, but I'm just going to prompt you on what these titles are so you with your regular human brain can remember these, so people don't take the piss out of our movie that we'd like to make money from. I feel much like in the way that we have you know, documentaries about the Fire Festival and things like that. Now, you may well see conversations about this. I have rarely, seldom in all of my career, Ben, seen a film that has so cynically been made to try and cash in on a thing with such a lack of understanding, maybe, about what it's actually meant to be about or what people actually like about the thing.
I mean,
it is.
Yeah, I've not heard good things. I've heard. I mean, I'm not gonna. I would like to see it out of like curiosity. Now,
That's why I had to. That's why I had to. I was at a loose end.
How's it
Still
still
loose end,
happening now? How is it still happening? Like, I know Sony haven't got the greatest track record recently with their Spider-Man adjacent films, but still, I've heard that like all the shots from the trailer of like Spider Women suited up is just a vision or something. Someone has a vision. It's just like, oh, I can't wait to see all the Spider Women suited up. You won't, because it's just a vision.
You will see conceptually what they will look like in the future in a dream, but not contemporaneous to what the actions of this film.
Terrible villain.
Wow.
Yeah, a terrible villain who dresses in a costume which looks very much like a Spider-Man costume. A good like decade before Spider-Man is born. I mean, again, I feel like I can mercilessly do spoilers for this film. Peter Parker is born but not named during the course of this film. You see him.
Someone say what? Born. Doesn't someone say what are you going to name your kid?
And they don't say it very subtly.
And she what are you going to name this kid then? I like alliteration in my day. I don't know about you.
And Uncle Ben is in it.
I'm going to call him the who plays Uncle Ben in this?
Watch Adam Scott.
Oh. I think I remember reading that there was potentially
I mean, he's not identified as Uncle Ben, but his name is Ben Parker, and his sister goes into labor and has a baby. And it only pointed out, like at one point, that her husband, who's not cast in the film, and Peter Parker's dad, his name is Richard Parker, like the tiger that was on that boat with that boy in India.
Richard Parker, yeah. Tiger with 2 names. I love that.
Yeah. So honestly, I mean, by all accounts, I will recommend that you don't pay to see this movie, but it is excellent acting, curiosity for you to you to have experienced it at least once. Like I say, absolute cynical filmmaking, and also like I feel they've almost deliberately tried to make her character unlikable and unrelatable. Like, again, I'll give you one more point, and then I've spoken about this film far too much more than it deserves already. But there is one moment early on where she's a paramedic. She's a paramedic. She drives around in an ambulance, and having saved a family, there is a bit very early on in the film where a little boy goes to give her a picture that he's drawn while in hospital as a thank you for dealing with it. And I know it's designed to lean into the fact that she doesn't understand how it is to have family because her mom died in a cave while giving birth after being shot by the man who would ultimately try to steal the spider powers.
Jesus Christ,
to reveal the fact that she doesn't know how to deal with family, she doesn't know, as a fully functioning adult in a society that holds down a job and manages her friends, that what to do when a kid offers you a picture that you don't really want. She's like, what do I even do with it? I'm like, just. And Uncle Ben even says, just accept the picture, take it away with you, and if you don't want to keep it, get rid of it another time. but she looks at this kid like he's holding an active grenade.
Oh,
yeah,
That's
honestly,
insane.
It's diabolical.
That may have
I'm
convinced me.
curious now. I'm
gonna...
very curious.
I'm not going to spend money on it, but yeah, I think the first chance I get
when it's on something that you already have immediate access to, and I would say absolute prime real estate for when you're also doing something else. Get the Switch on. Get the get a secondary piece of something actually entertaining to stop you drifting on this one, because also painfully long.
Is it?
How long is it?
I think it's like an hour 50.
Oh, that is
an hour 55 maybe.
Yeah,
that is mad. Bloody hell, Madam Web. Okay, is that it?
Yeah. Apart from that, just the film of the week. I feel like everything else comparatively now, absolute A+.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so apart from that, we've seen the film of the week, which is The Strangers, which is a 2008 American psychological horror film written and directed by Bryan Bertino. It follows a couple portrayed by Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman. We've seen this guy before, haven't we, Andy? Whose stay at vacation home is disrupted by three masked intruders who infiltrate the home one night. It's the first installment in the Strangers film series. So we've only had two so far, so you know. Ratings wise, we have got 6.1 on IMDb, 49% on Rotten Tomatoes audience score, 48% critic score, very close. Letterboxd 2.6 and some choice reviews from Letterboxd. Ellie says this review. No, I've copied the wrong bit. It says this review might contain spoilers. It doesn't really. Everything that happens in this film is absolute karma for proposing at someone else's wedding. 3 stars. In a really half-assed way as well. Like, oh, do you want to marry me or what?
Just show you the box.
Just show you the box. That's piss poor, that is.
Could have been your last roller in there, mate. Don't mug me off.
You could have a little flea circus in there. One of them. That's 3 stars. She gives it. Ronya says, "Can't believe people actually answer the door. Laughing my ass off. Grow up." 3.5 stars.
Don't answer the door ever, is what you've
Don't
learned.
answer the door ever.
Hide unless behind you've got a text message saying you're expecting a parcel today, and it's within that window.
Yeah.
Have you ever hidden like behind the sofa or any other piece of furniture to hide from someone who's at the door? Ever?
I must have at some point. Yeah, I mean,
you've got
to stay very quiet.
You got to brass it out, Ben. Had a lovely chat with the Mormons about Futurama for 20 minutes once. But what are you doing? Watching Futurama? What's your favorite episode? Chatting to a bit, and they went, "Anyway, mate, we must get on."
We must get on, mate. Yeah, that's all right.
We're trying to get people to join our religion. They're not here to chat to you about what you're watching.
Futurama. I think I maybe hid from someone I didn't want to go out and play football with at one point. I remember there was like a new kid who like moved into the street, and for some reason I just like he was constantly asking me to play football with him, and I enjoyed it for a degree, but one day I just had enough. And he knocked on the door and I just went straight behind the sofa, hid. I didn't live on my own either, so someone else probably answered the door.
Your mum answered, "Yeah, he's behind the sofa. Just get him.
He's behind the sofa. What's he doing back there? What a madman." Okay, Tobias says, "Felt like I could relate to Liv Tyler in this because I would probably cry if someone came into my house and started playing music I didn't like." 3 stars.
On the gramophone.
On the bloody gramophone. That bit when the record was skipping, abrasive. I didn't enjoy that. Josiah says, "What I thought was going to happen to me as a kid when my mum took an unusually long time to get home after grocery shopping and I was home alone." 2 stars. It's true, isn't it? I remember like being home alone and it's starting to get dark and being like, that's it. Immediately, the second it goes dark, someone's going to break in and kill me.
Yeah. That fella from Unbreakable is going to turn up at your door and say, "I like your house." The next thing you know, handcuffed to a radiator, waiting for Bruce Willis to come get you.
Come on, Bruce Willis, get the poncho on and save us. So yeah, obviously we've talked about our relationship with this film. I had seen it before. I reckon maybe like just once before, and I remember like quite liking it. It wasn't like one of my favorites or anything like that, but I'd never seen the sequel before. You seen this before, Andy?
Only that time that then was followed on by the horrors. I've not watched it since that day when I've lived the real life stranger's experience.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I genuinely just don't think we can beat Andy on this one, to be honest. I mean,
No,
none of our
can.
stories will ever match up to that ever.
The film that almost inspired me to kill a child.
Yeah, you almost went to Polish prison.
Yeah. Join me next
no.
time when if we ever get a convenient story of a spooky time in a pub. I'll tell you about the time me and my now wife almost killed an old man. But that's another story for another time.
Brilliant.
I think you've told us that one before as well.
I might have told it to you.
Well,
Then again, we've done 300 episodes.
300 episodes. You're
about
about to replay stories. I'm gonna stop you there, Andy. You've told us this story before, so if you want to listen to it,
unless you've got an encyclopedic knowledge and say, yeah, if you want to go back to episode 78 where we talked about the old man and the soup kettle, then you can find it there. But otherwise, we'll save it for a pub related one.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, The Strangers. What we got cast wise, we've got Liv Tyler as Kristen McKay, Scott Speedman as James Hoyt. Scott Speedman, of course, we watched a few episodes.
AKA
ago.
Michael Corvino, and he doesn't turn into a werewolf vampire hybrid in this one.
No, he doesn't. But I just kept thinking. I think we slated his acting a bit in Underworld, didn't we? I cannot say, unfortunately, Mr. Speedman, that I was that much more impressed this time around. Sorry about that. I usually like Liv Tyler in stuff, in anything. Lord of the Rings, Armageddon. Am I missing something major? Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? That like I think you say the name Liv Tyler, and my initial instinctive reaction was been like, okay, she's a bit of stunt casting sometimes, following Armageddon, but no, been in loads of like incredibly popular films.
Yeah.
Oh, and of course, James Gunn's classic. He's in Super. She's in Super.
Oh yeah. Oh my god, of course.
Yeah.
Again, in this film, a bit one note for me. A bit. I mean, I get it. She's acted exactly how you probably would act if three masked psychopaths came into your house
on the day you've just turned down a proposal, and then you're kind of wondering if it's going to ruin your relationship. Should I have just got on with it and just drag my feet over the admin?
Yeah, probably.
Just say yes, Liv Tyler. Not signing anything.
The thing is, we don't know about this relationship, do we? Like, we don't know the ins and outs of this relationship. I kept thinking that. I kept thinking, I feel a tad sorry for him, but at the same time, we don't know the ins and outs of this relationship. He could have been a right asshole for a long time, and he's gone, I'm finally going to propose to try and then she's gone, actually, you know what? I'd rather shit in my hands and clap than marry you.
She's not showing a lovely time. When he was carrying her out, and she's going, "Oh, I'm having a bloody lovely time."
There was an extreme change in mood from that. I don't know about you guys, right? So all I could think about during this whole thing was that there was a massive tub of ice cream on the table, melting. That's all I could think about.
Put it in the fridge.
Put it in the fridge.
At least slow the process.
Yeah.
There's a log fire going. That room would be roasting.
Yeah, he said, "I'm gonna light a fire for you." I was like, "Well, someone put the ice cream away." I couldn't even tell what flavor it was. I wanted to know. It did probably get me in the mood for ice cream, though. I was bang on it.
Should have been Chekhov's ice cream. They could have drowned one of them in it at the end because it would have melted and it would have spit in nicely.
Chekhov's ice cream.
Yeah, that would have been good.
Oh, that would have been good.
If you leave ice cream on the table in Act 1, someone's drowning in that pot in Act 3.
Amazing. And the rest of the cast is made up of people who played the mass psychopaths. I don't think there's anyone.
And Dennis from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
oh yeah!
Dennis.
Oh my god!
Dennis Reynolds is in this.
That was so strange.
When I first saw this film, I had no idea who Dennis Reynolds was, and obviously watching it now, it really cut the tension for me.
Yeah, I've seen him in a lot. I mean, I saw him in Blackberry recently, which was good as well. I enjoyed that. But God, he's had a strange career, that guy. Yeah.
And this was like, it was a random sort of thing, but even though I'd seen this before, I definitely remember the first time around kind of knowing what was going to happen. You know, yeah, terrifying.
Forcing you to basically Mr. Bean kill your own brother.
A proper Mr. Bean kid, and then go out and go, was that my brother? Please don't be my brother. Hopefully it's just someone dressed like him. Someone dressed like he dresses and look like he. Oh, it's my brother. Bloody hell! Don't look.
Oh, you'd be livid, wouldn't you? Be so angry with yourself. A bit like when you drop your phone and it's your fault that it's cracked. It's like, no one to blame but myself in that one. Fucking hell.
The violence in this film is very like matter of fact and kind of like difficult to watch, almost like in a video nasty type of way. Kind of reminds me of that scene in Zodiac as well, where the Zodiac killer just ties up that couple and just starts stabbing them in the back. Especially like the last scene, just that act of just like he's here only to kill you, and there's nothing you could do to get out of it. He reveling in it essentially and just enjoying the moment. So much fact that he takes off his sack head in this film, I mean, so we can get a good look at it. No peripheral. I keep thinking about his peripheral vision, especially when he was underwater in the sequel as well. I was like, he ain't gonna be able to see anything that's going on under
surely
there.
that's like, if that sack's gonna get waterlogged, it's gonna waterboard you when you're already underwater.
What happened?
That's a double waterboarding. Yeah.
This is.
Or maybe maybe it being waterlogged is how he survives being on fire for so fucking long.
Oh my god. This is post Batman Begins as well, isn't it? This is like 3 years after Batman Begins, so we've already seen Scarecrow.
Yeah.
Old Sackhead. Not saying that isn't exclusively
Sackhead's in vogue.
Sackhead's in vogue, yeah. So
I mean, it's not a Hessian sack. It's a bit of
yeah.
It looks like he's got, the rags that you get specifically for cleaning your car, things like that. Looks like a nice.
It's the Town That Dreaded Sundown sackhead, isn't it? I think.
Pillowcase.
Oh, pillowcase head. Is that more pillowcase?
That's a bit pillowcasey. There's no corners in there. You're not gonna get a.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. It's much more pillowcasey. It's much saggier.
Yeah. That's quite a fitted. It's quite a slim fit pillowcase if it is one.
And what about Jason, Friday the 13th Part 2?
Original, yeah, that's pillowcasey.
Is that pillowcasey as well?
I think that's a sack.
What makes it pillowcasey? The corners. We see the little corners.
I think the corners and the
little
material.
ears.
That's not a Hessian, isn't it? That's a linen.
Yeah, it's interesting though.
It's not woolen because that would be balaclava.
Oh, it's a bloody minefield out there, Andy. Is what it is. It's a minefield out there.
I mean, maybe we've not given this guy enough credit for his choice of masks. Everyone thinks he's got the lazy option, whether the people have gone for the theme. But actually, maybe he's like, no, I'm the leader. I need to stand out like the Green Ranger, my little shield.
That's true. That is true.
They are quite well dressed for serial killers as well, aren't they? Like they're not wearing she's got a nice dress on. Like it's very strange.
Yeah.
Nice I don't dress. Really interesting fashion sense, yeah.
Looks like a dress that's gonna have pockets in it as well, though. She's absolutely
very functional.
Yeah.
And he's even wearing kind of a blazer, shirt, and tie combo. I mean, it is a bit of a loose fit. It's not like but it's still.
He's looking very smart.
They're taking this murdering very, very seriously, aren't they?
And we talk at the beginning as we get into the plot. It gives us our, everyone states that it's stated that there's over like 20 bazillion violent crimes in America every year, and that this is based on a true story. I take it without the Wikipedia article in front of me. I take it it's the Manson murders that this is based on, right? Knocking on people's doors and then just giving you a shanking if you answer.
It's not based on. It's in terms of it being rooted in reality. It's not like 3 people in these exact masks turned up.
No, I think it is just Manson family killings, which is, again, for anyone who's not followed the history, sadly not like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Leonardo DiCaprio doesn't defeat them with dogs and flamethrowers. They went around knocking on people's doors in quite wealthy neighborhoods, and they attacked and in many cases murdered people who were home and answered the door. Because of course, in those days, people did answer the door.
It does look like it were based on the Manson murders. Now I'm seeing it. Obviously. So apparently, director Bryan Bertino was thinking about the Tate murders and realized that these detailed descriptions had painted a story of what it was like to be in the house with the victims, but none of the victims knew about the Manson family or why it was happening to them. So it got him fascinated with telling the victims' tale. Yeah, I guess similar sort of
It's
way.
a nice way to think of it, actually, like telling the victim's tale as well, because I don't think they're scary characters in this, but I think versus sometimes when you get depictions of true crime, I don't think they are like glorifying these killers and look at these cool dudes, or driving people's fascination directly with these killers, because they're very matter of fact, and they just kind of are in this one. They're not dishing out banger after banger of catchphrases and cool lines and being sometimes put on a type of pedestal, which people who do murders probably shouldn't be.
They don't seem to also have like any superhuman strength or anything like that, it feels like when there's like a sort of toe-to-toe with a victim, it's usually pretty 50-50 until like the killer usually gets to, because they're
they're just
mad.
Meticulously planned in this one and willing to actively hurt you rather than trying to. And I think in both of these films, I would have abandoned the civility of telling people to back off a long time ago. And been,
I'm just going to shoot you, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm going to shoot you immediately. To be honest, as soon as you'd interrupted my almost reconciliation after that thing had gone back, probably would have shot you in the head for that alone.
Yeah.
But
enough,
yeah, like it's an interesting take of these murderous characters. But where do we begin story wise, though? Apart from we get the factoid, and then do we start at the wedding, or is that a flashback later? Do we begin with them walking into the house?
It's weird, isn't it?
It's walking into the house at first, isn't it? And then it's when she screams. That's where it opens, I think.
Oh yeah, we start at the end, right? We see the little
basically it circles
boys.
back on itself. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Little religious pamphlet deliverers are coming, and they're finding something, and then we flash back to that's kind of the morning after the night before, and we go to the night before with them coming in, and
we hear the
are a
phone
bit
call
frosty.
We heard a phone call from the kids who were reporting the bodies, like saying there's blood everywhere, everyone's dead. So I guess that's that's the thing. It kind of makes us know what to expect, but at the same time, we're like, well, we don't necessarily know who's going to end up dead, or
kind of like what actually happened here. Yeah.
So yeah, they come back. The house is James's childhood summer home. It looks quite lived in there, doesn't it? It doesn't look like, it says isolated childhood summer home, so I think they just mean like whereabouts in the it's quite an isolated neighborhood, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks like it's a place of summer lets, right? Because the guy says, "Oh, you can easily get lost around here." So I'm guessing it's those bloody elites with their second houses all over again.
So it seems like the strangers
maybe the strangers aren't the real villains after all.
It seems like the strangers definitely got a target then, because they're definitely targeting people who are staying in places that aren't their houses, right?
I guess it sort of leans into it being slightly more isolated than if you were just walking down, a residential street where you'd naturally have neighbors and people opposite. And if you were running about screaming and bricking people's windscreens and terrorizing them in your truck and these things, it'd quickly come unstuck, right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, they get back from a wedding and things are a bit frosty, and then we see like a sort of flashback to, is that how it works? A flashback to them at the wedding.
Well, we see that there's been a proposal.
We don't know why she rejected him, though, do we? Is that's never mentioned?
She says later that she just wasn't ready to get married. But I tell you what, say what you want about Scott Speedman. Speedman by name, Speedman by nature. He set up that house good and proper. There's ice cream, there's drinks, there's champagne on ice. He's filled the bath with. He's written a name in rose petals everywhere.
This is a man.
Yeah, but
sorry, go on.
This is it. No, yeah, I was just going to say though, like you've just said that he does all this shit, right? But then like the proposal is so lackluster, and so like, is that it? Is that it? So number one, it's at someone else's wedding, which is what you don't do. That's kind of a given. You never do that. Second of all, it's very like, will you? And it's like, no, you can do it properly.
It's sort of like half-assed.
Side here, fuck that, man. It's so half-assed.
You want to marry me or what? No,
and he's taking it real badly. He's cancelled a holiday off the back of it, because I don't think that certainly Liv Tyler's character hasn't assumed we're not getting engaged, and also you're dumped. Like she realizes that he's upset, but he's like, oh, I don't think it's good to go on a road trip right about now. And I phoned Dennis Reynolds to come pick me up. So immediately, you can have the bedroom. I'll sleep in here. Your clothes are in here. Have a bath if you want. Don't take romantic context from the rose petals though, because that's fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that their dynamic is very strange though, because at some point they do attempt to have sex with each other as well, and it's kind of like, what is going on here? Like I don't really know where they stand. It's quite an odd dynamic.
Yeah, there's almost like a reconciliation, isn't it? Because they have this debate, and then when these pop in champagne and eating ice cream, he goes to put the gramophone on, and she comes up behind and says, no, wait, come and talk to me. And then she puts her arms around him, and then they start kissing. Before you know it, skirts are hitched, pants are going down, and then a knock at the door.
Yeah.
Inconvenient.
Oh, bloody hell, so inconvenient. Do you reckon they knew? They must have known.
They were waiting. Right. Wait.
Ready?
Wait.
Oh, hang on. Unscrew the light bulb first. That's important. Can you imagine if you just went, oh, bet the milkman's coming. We're out of milk. I'm just going to... You just catch him unscrewing the light bulb, and then it's all ruined. It's like... yeah, so they turn up. What name do they ask for? It's not Magda, like in the real life
Tamara.
Tamara
Tamara. I mean, I would say Tamara, but like it depends.
Is that the same name they say in the sequel?
Yeah,
they say
I
the
think
same.
so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Tamara.
Yeah.
Tamara.
Is that their first victim? What's her name? Is that her name? Who knows? So it's like
Can you imagine?
So apparently it's 4
maybe they've looked
a.m.
at
this happened.
Maybe they've looked at the census and no one in that neighborhood is called Tamara. Because can you imagine if it's a Ben Errington situation and Tamara's hiding behind the sofa, so she's going to go out and play football with them? Oh, it's the strangers again. I'd imagine if one time, ding dong, is Tamara in? Yeah, I'll just get her hang on.
She's here actually, yeah. Oh my god.
Oh, that's my name. This is embarrassing again.
Unbelievable. This is 4 a.m. as well, which I don't know if I necessarily realized it was 4 a.m. when this happened.
Weddings going to 4 a.m. in a country retreat?
I think it's like they had a wedding, then they've driven back home, and now they're just having frosty, awkward. You know, sometimes you can't go to bed when you're halfway through an argument. That's never works, does it?
No.
And yeah, it's just going on, isn't it? So loud knock at the door. Obviously, that happens. Face obscured by
day for the bride and groom. They probably want you gone by 11.
Get out of here. Yeah, we're all falling
Yeah,
asleep.
Probably up at 6 in hair and makeup and getting suits ironed and dealing with all the guests arriving. They're sick of it.
They're like, stop proposing at my wedding and go home. What are you doing?
I guess at least
it's 4 in the morning, Scott Speedman.
At least he didn't propose in the middle of like the dance floor, I guess, during the first dance. First dance happens, he just gets down on one knee. At least he did it out the way of everybody else.
Oh,
you know?
Can you imagine if he was the best man? It was in the speeches. And I've got one more announcement, mate, to a special person here at the wedding today. You'd be raging. You'd throw the cake at him.
Yeah. What a man.
During the first dance. Now, what I hope is that Liv Tyler might join me at a first dance in a little bit of time after I propose during this.
I've just got to tie before we do that, I just got to tie my shoe. Oh no.
When you're exchanging rings, you're the best man, obviously, in this one. Scott Speedman is like, with this ring, I the wed, and with this ring, I propose. That is it. I think we've distilled it. The worst proposal you can do. If anyone does that, please video it and send it in to the Horror Hangout socials. I'd love to see it.
Oh,
so,
yes.
Not long after this, he goes to drive to get her a packet of cigarettes for her, doesn't he? First of all, you've been rejected, right? Humiliating, terrible. Now you become her lackey. Her lackey. Going to get cigarettes at the 24-hour garage for Kristen. She's absolutely gasping.
Oh, is that what they've done?
Like, for a Benson and Hedges.
They've kind of set the mental pathways going because they almost had sex, and she was thinking, right, that's basically set off a chain reaction where I really need to punch a dart now. I know the rest of it was interrupted, but like that is the end bit. So she goes, but he gasping for a coffin nail. He goes, I'll go and get one. I'll go and get one for you. I wanted to do some drunk driving
Don't worry,
anyway.
Kristen. I'll go and get one. Anything for you. I love you so much. Please, you rejected me. It doesn't matter. I don't even want to be your boyfriend anymore. I'll just be your slave. Your slave. I don't want any cigarettes. Want anything else? See you later.
Yeah, or maybe he'd like maybe he gets the wrong brand and goes, you say I only get Super Kings with people I'm about to get married to. Actually,
to be fair though, I'd do anything for Liv Tyler, but probably in Lord of the Rings, not in this film where she just, I don't know, just a bit annoying. Lord of the Rings, she's all majestic and otherworldly and
immortal. The exact opposite is what you'll be if you smoke two buggy cigarettes. Everybody,
that's it. Stop smoking, become immortal. That's how it works.
Yeah. Don't just get like lovely alabaster skin from smoking cigarettes all the time, would you? No. Elves with their pale skin be all yellowed up if they were smoking.
Oh dear.
Smoking all the time.
Smoking all the time.
Nicotine stained.
So now we get like a series of like, you know, more while Kristen's alone, more loud bangs at various parts of the house. She locks the door, doesn't she? When does she put her music on?
Well, she hears
a little bit before.
The girl comes back when she's banging at the door. Goes, "Oh, is Tamara there?" And she doesn't open the door this time. She goes, "Oh, you were here a minute ago." She goes, "Are you sure?" Yeah, pretty sure.
Are you sure? I've just been knocking on every door.
Yeah. Scott Speedman's already gone out at this point. Is a comment on that one. One, I find US-based films in the world have a very different attitude to drink driving than we do in this country. He finishes a lovely slug of the bottle of champagne before he gets in there, and then throws it, just, casts the bottle out onto the lawn. I'm like, you're an idiot, Scott Speedman. Only you got to clean that up. It's your parents' holiday home. You just wazzed a bottle of champagne on the lawn. You're going to have to sort that out tomorrow morning.
Who's been drinking on the lawn? Probably Kirsten, I reckon. Kirsten or Kristen? Kristen.
But yeah,
if you got her name wrong, that'd be worse.
They're banging on the doors. Is this when we get our first record skip?
I think so.
Yeah, possibly. Is it now when the chimney starts like smoking up as well, and she goes?
Yeah, this is the chimney bit. Yeah,
triggers the smoke alarm. This is quite like an abrasive sounding film. Like the sound design's pretty good because I'm quite sensitive to sound, and I found myself like the knocking on the doors, the fire alarm, the record skipping. I feel like it did a really good job of putting me on edge.
Yeah. It's a lot of very like normal everyday sounds as well, which is that personally scares me because I'm like shit.
Yeah,
just
the
like
fire alarm is one. The only thing worse than the fire alarm is when the fire alarm needs batteries and it does that little.
Oh yeah, and it like skips as well. It's like
immediately just smash it off the. I mean, I don't recommend doing that, but still, it makes me want to do
I
that.
can never reach them because I'm so short as well. So I'm just like fuck.
Oh no! Broom in the ceiling of your house.
Be like, God damn it! Yeah, so annoying. I'm looking at mine. It's like right up there. I can't reach that.
Yeah.
Pain in the arse.
Yeah. So if that started yipping at you, you'd be in all sorts of strife, and then of
very
course,
angry.
only thing worse. All those annoying noises. Your records are skipping. The smoke alarm's blipping. You're there, you're waving a tea towel at it, trying to calm it all down. And then you go to have a little peep out the curtains. Horrible Sackman staring in.
Horrible bloody Sackman. And she screams.
And the sound spikes at this point as well. I felt like when I first started watching it, I turned it up a little bit so I could hear it a little bit better. Because they're talking quite softly. It's 4 a.m, got neighbors. And then this comes open and she absolutely howls. And it's so loud. I had to turn it back down again because it really like spikes the volume and the intensity of the film at this point.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. I forgot to say, I think before she actually does see him at the window, isn't he just in the house in the background when she's like getting a drink and he just like emerges from the shadows?
Oh, I know he comes in a bit later. I can't remember now if you've seen him, but we do see this film's really masterful at showing like people out of focus, Mike Flanagan ghost style, like in the background of what you're watching.
It really reminded me of like Hereditary as well, though, like that Toni Collette scene where she's just there. Do you know what I mean? Like for me, that's like way more effective than like in your face jump scares. If there's just a person just standing there, I'm like, why?
Yeah,
That's fucking scary. Why? Like,
yeah,
it's not nice.
and like because you just think, what the hell is he gonna do? And there's even a moment where we then see his point of view, and then we see Liv Tyler like turn around, and then we half expect her to turn around and then just see him, but then it cuts back to that previous shot.
Puts a lampshade on his head,
and he's gone.
He's like,
puts a lampshade on his head. Yeah,
yeah.
just a sack man with a lampshade on his head. It's fine.
But yeah, that kitchen scene is fuck. I have nightmares about that. That's not nice.
Yeah, it's definitely very effective.
Because it could happen. It's just like shit. Like it's just mad.
Passes that ice cream, doesn't put it in the freezer.
Oh, human. Absolutely.
It's melting. What happens in this moments of distraction, though, that it's... Tell you what, you wouldn't get it nowadays, would you? This is my biggest problem with the sequel. Her phone isn't just on her person.
Oh, yeah.
Her phone's out of battery. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
She got a
give you more your phone running out of battery, more anxiety than someone knocking at your door at 4 a.m.
Her little flip phone.
Oh yeah, her Samsung T100 gets wazzed in the fire during the thing. But yeah, that's what we were saying. That obviously you wouldn't think of it nowadays. One, that she's left her phone in her bag to be out of battery in the first place. It wasn't just in her pocket, not allowed to get below 20% battery without freaking out.
Didn't phones like 15 years ago keep battery for like 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Or was that just a Nokia?
It's a Nokia 3310. It'd be like, oh, my phone's out of battery. I guess it's not been plugged in for 8 months.
Okay, I'm just going to do a social experiment. I'm 57%. It's right here.
Yeah, exactly.
57.
There you go.
71.
Oh my god. Oh, 33. What does that tell you about me? What does that tell you about me?
That you'd still be right if the strangers came to get you.
Oh right, okay,
you'd still be 33% fine.
Yeah, hell yeah.
You could probably
phone call.
Yeah, you could probably lock yourself in that cupboard, phone the police, and then probably watch a good 90 minutes of streaming video until they arrived on 33%.
Hell yeah.
On Twitter, like, come on, hurry up.
So she tries to call James's phone from the landline, but then while she's doing it, their call gets cut short, doesn't it? Again, this is a classic this is a classic annoying thing where I think he immediately thinks that she's having a tough time because she's like imagining people being at the door and stuff like that. Because he's like, what? Someone's at the door. Are we still on the phone with me? And he's like, I like to think he didn't cut the call. The call wasn't cut short by the strangers. That he just went, oh, give it a rest. Just put him
decline end call. Otherwise, the strangers have 2 films of exceptional timing of not thinking to cut the phone off until someone's on the phone, but then doing it.
Yeah. I reckon they like that. They just love.
They're going to tell the police where they are now.
Ready? Yeah.
And they're really banking on the fact that the person phoning the police in both instances doesn't know the exact address of where they are.
Yeah.
They'd be fucked if someone goes,
it's ridiculous.
yeah, I'm at this campsite immediately. Someone's trying to murder us. Like they are Sherlock Holmes in this going, I predict that they will mention the name of, they'll mention that they're trying to be killed in the first instance, but not remember the
in the sequel,
the address of where they are.
In the sequel, he literally says, I actually have no idea. Like there wasn't a thought in his head before he picked the phone up where he went, oh shit, where am I?
Emergency which service? Oh, you put me on the spot now.
I have no idea where I am. Do you know what country you're in? Might be Canada. might be America. I don't even know, mate. You ain't got a clue.
Again, we've got what 3 words these days? Come on, guys.
Oh yeah.
Never get lost again. It's all good.
Yeah, never ever.
What 3 words of that house? Sackhead murder.
Sackhead murder. Butlins. That's where I am. I'm at some kind of butlins. I'm at some weird neon butlins. It's lovely. I love it.
Yeah. Not in this one though. They're in just lovely nondescript holiday house.
I think around about now it says in the plot description she returns to the kitchen where the masked man watches her from an adjacent hallway. And And I think it's then that she realizes the smoke alarm she left on the floor is now on a chair, and she realized someone's been in the house. I'm like, well, what's the guy doing? Is he just like, oh, well, I might as well help out while I'm here. I'll change the batteries for her.
So you're not compliant with the building regulations unless you put that back up. Your insurance will be invalid. I'll sort that out. We'll chuck this phone in the fire, though.
He's helpful. Chuck this phone in the bloody fire.
Kids are always on their phones nowadays. Casts it into the fire.
Sorry, mate. It's only going to get worse. Cast into the fire.
If it bothered you in 2004, sackhead, did you imagine now you'd be raging?
Pure raging.
I wonder with these sequels, if they are contemporary, how are they going to deal with the phone situation?
Yeah,
got no kids nowadays are leaving them, or just leave them on the side while I wear a man before they've initiated the murder part of the film.
Smash them all up.
Just going to be able to come and smash them all up,
like whack-a-mole style.
An entire family's phones were just all left on the side.
Unless it's like a really strict household, but they're like, sorry guys, it's 8 p.m. Everybody put your phones on the countertop. Family time commences now.
They set like a timer, and they're like, right, timer, an hour.
I feel like I'd rather be murdered than live with a family like that.
Same.
Finish me off.
As soon as they come to the door, you just pull the knife into yourself.
Like, come on.
Blessed release.
So I think when she hears a noise from the backyard, she arms herself with a knife, and that's when she opens the curtains to see the sackhead man.
Old sackhead.
That's when she screams, and pretty much immediately as she's screaming, things start kicking off because the front door is
banging.
Jar. I think it's a jar at this point, isn't it? So it's banging. She goes to close it, but then the blonde woman we saw from earlier, well, we're assuming it's her from early on, appears. Now she's got a dolly mask on. She's got a little dolly mask on, and she peers inside. But Kristen managed to lock the door now, didn't she? And then she goes running, and she thinks, you know what? I'm gonna hide under the bed. That basically in every film I've ever seen. That always works 100% of the time. I've never seen it not work.
No one's ever been got under the bed, apart from that kid with the scary plan that did get him. I mean, what would you do in this situation? You know, you find... So, Sackhead's burnt your phone. Well, you don't know about that yet. So, basically, horrible girlie knocking on your door, asking you questions like a wrong-un, and then peers in with a spooky mask on. What's your two reactions in this situation?
It's a good question. I mean... I don't think you wouldn't always assume it was definitely going to be psychopathic killers, would you? You'd think it was people just mucking about or like kids, you know. I think I'd probably be angry more than anything else, wouldn't you? You'd just be like, oh, leave me alone, fuck off, whatever. I'm trying to watch Catfish in here and you're interrupting me.
I want its predictability. Death in Paradise is on in a bit. I want gentle television, please.
Yeah. Neve is at the front door, and I can't pause it. So you are gonna have to just piss off for a bit.
And you're at my front door. Fuck up, yeah.
I don't know if I'm demand at this house. This is live.
Sling your up.
I don't know. I feel like I would at least try and talk to them. People never do that, do they? They just sort of. You just be like, who the fuck are you? Like.
There's a lot of
just sort of.
This film and the other one. I know that we focus a lot on the question of why are you doing this, and the answer that follows is obviously quite famous in this film. But I feel like we focus on that a lot. There's a lot of like, why are you doing this to us? And like, I get it. You would be like, why are you doing this to us? But I think after a while, and you haven't got an answer, you just be like, well,
true.
Fuck off then.
Why should you care? You know, straight away, accelerate to the end game, everybody. Escalate. Soon as someone's peeped into your house with a spooky mask on, escalate to the finale, put the gas on, rip the gas main out of the wall if you can access it, blow up the building as fast as you can. Your biggest defense is chaos. That sackman comes at you. Do your best to piss yourself. Do something.
Soil yourself.
Yeah.
Have you
strip naked and just run at him screaming? Put him on the back foot. The last thing you can possibly expect.
Yeah. Be more unhinged than he is. Brilliant.
Be incredibly sexually forward with him. Oh, come here then, sack guy. Come here then. I'm waiting for you all night.
You've only got to twist that mask slightly so his eyes are no longer aligned with the holes.
Oh,
Literally.
You're so focused.
Going.
You're so focused on finding like a sharp thing, like a knife. Get the rolling pin out. His head's already bagged. Fucking pound it to custard, mate. Sort him out.
His head's already bagged.
Yeah,
your head's been pre-bagged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Home Alone that house as fast as you can. You got a box of micro machines from your boyfriend's childhood home. Tip them over the floor.
Also, another thing is her boyfriend's childhood home. She literally doesn't need to care about carnage or what she's gonna break or anything. You'd just be slinging everything at him, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Get those logs out the fire. Start putting them on the furniture.
Set up. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
I want the strangers to be leaving. I want them to be in a post-credit scene in their car going, she was fucked up, she was.
She was insane.
I did a classic. Make a decoy in the bed out of pillows, so it looks like me.
Like a cardboard cat out of Michael Jordan.
We know I got a clown in the shower. We love inflatable clown. You just put decoys everywhere, wouldn't you? Like I love doing. I still love doing that now. Making a decoy of myself and hiding behind the door. So when your girlfriend walks in, she goes. I do it. I actually get the dog with that a lot. I make a little decoy and he runs in and jumps on it, thinking it's me, and then I just appear and
got him.
Appear and choke him out. No, don't do that. Come on.
But yeah, she doesn't do any of those. Much more sensible choices. She goes and hides under the bed. Fair enough.
She doesn't even fully commit to hiding under the bed, does she?
Got legs sticking out.
Brilliant.
It's only a queen. Doesn't fit.
Oh, James. Oh yeah, James comes home, doesn't he? Like he reappears. Like
he gets back from his drink drive that you wanted to have.
Classic drink drive. And then she's basically explained to everything that happens. Initially, isn't he a bit like, what? What are you on about? Nah. He's a bit disbelieving, which is a bit silly. And now I feel like I'm even more glad that I didn't marry you, is what she's probably thinking. You didn't even
Especially as they seem to have put things away a little bit. So, you know, the fire's no longer smoking over. It's just all nicely under control. There is a phone in it, apparently creating no hideous plastic odor at all. Didn't even seem to notice. It's like,
and again,
ice cream still on the counter, obviously, but
oh no, that was the biggest sacrilege in this film. And again, he goes, "Oh, should we call the police then? I'll just go out to the car to get my phone." Why is no one putting their phone just in their pocket? It's a very small thing. It's even smaller. Just put it in your pocket. Have it on your person at all times.
I feel this was in the prime era of phones being as small as they ever would be, because you didn't have touch screens yet. It was still just a small phone.
Yeah, exactly.
This is prime time for your phone just being on you.
Yeah. Annoying, isn't it? It is annoying. And that is probably one of the most frustrating things about films like this, is because, I understand that you need to put certain things in place in the plot so no one doesn't just call the police. And we've seen all the different versions of that, but it is still frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah. Have them drop it in the toilet or something, just so it doesn't work.
So he decides he's going to go.
I left my handbag at the wedding. My phone's in it, written off. There you go.
Yeah, I was tanked right up at the wedding, and I actually stood on my phone. I dropped it, and then I stood on it. What an absolute wanker! I don't know. I would have preferred that, other than my phone's just in the car. I'll go get it. So he goes to get his phone, but his car has been absolutely ransacked and vandalized. That's what you get. That's what you get, isn't it? That is what you get. And I'd
love it if the strangers had nothing to do with this, and because he's drunk on like a wedding's worth of booze and then an extra bottle of champagne in the house. There's like like in Wolf of Wall Street, where he showed how he actually drove home.
Yeah, exactly like that.
How did you get home? Fine. I got home fine. Yeah, it was completely.
And the car's like. Oh.
I did some of my best driving.
Like a cube.
I did some. Unbelievable.
It reminds me of that Simpsons gag when you get to call where it's like you have 5 days to remove your cube or something. It's a Christie's car.
Yeah.
Just bring him like, hello.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh wow. Yeah, so he goes out, car's been battered, sees a doll face watching him from afar. Do they just do they attempt to just get in the car and leave? I think they do at this point, don't they? They're going, right, we're just
yeah, they attempt to leave, but like it's the fact he just left her in the house. It's like, come on, man. She just said she's being terrorized. You
be safe
don't
there.
split up. Just go together.
Yeah, just go everywhere as a pair. And there were two of them. When one of you's just menacing her, one of them comes a menace. Just double team them. Especially if it's one of the smaller ones, like the child. That's like the first. Honestly, mate, that's like farming EXP from Pidgeys, mate. Fucking nail those bastards the second. Could have absolutely like tag teamed her and then used her skeleton as a decoy to trick the others later.
You could take down you could take down the one in the red dress when she's tiny. She's fine.
Yeah.
I could take her on, no problem.
I'm a little bit more. I'm more scared of her.
She gets one-shotted with a golf club in the second one.
Oh yeah, she does. Yeah, she does, and then stabbed to death. Oh,
she's just a human.
Yeah,
yeah. But I suppose like
humans are weak against golf clubs and stabbing.
I suppose anyone could be a stranger, can't they? Like it might not even be all the same people in the sequel, for example.
It might be Brock Lesnar one of the times. Who knows?
One of them might be bloody Brock Lesnar. So what happens? Oh yeah, they try to leave in the car, but the brunette woman in the red dress, she rear ends them in a pickup truck.
Oh, of course, they've got a
we better flee
back.
Yeah, they go, oh, we better flee back to the house. A vehicle that they literally don't get. I mean, who knows what their insurance premium is because they're rear ending people left, right, and center.
Probably get it from the same dealership as the Jeepers Creepers man. Person who sells like custom invincible vehicles to movie villains. Like the Strangers, Bad Bloke from Wolf Creek, The Creeper, all of them go to the same dealership. Oh, that's another film idea for you. Just person.
It's called The Rear Enders. Oh god. So they flee back to the house. Classic. I do. That is one thing. That is
don't
one
do
thing
that.
This does kind of annoy me in films like this when you leave the place where you've been like either stuck or like holed up for a while. You leave the place, then things go a bit naff, and you go, oh, I'm just gonna run back to exactly where I was.
Yeah.
Like the thing is though, like Scream makes fun of this, like famously. You know, the whole like she makes fun of like people running out the house or whatever, and then going back in, and then she does the same thing. But like slashers have learned nothing from Scream. Scream's like, don't do that. That's stupid, and we still do it. This is 2008. They've got no excuse. They've seen Scream. You know?
It's almost like the slasher rules are just so ingrained that it feels wrong to, even if it is like a plot hole or something, it feels wrong to stray too far from the path of like what makes us well. It's like this is obviously a slasher, but it's also a home invasion film, so it's got it's got rules for both of those films, like all mixed up.
Or are we to believe that in any film where these things happen, it is a reality in which that is not a genre of cinema?
Yeah,
all those things are just, it's basically Only a Wonderful Life ever came out in this world. So
I mean,
I do like the formula
as well. Yeah.
It's the same formula as when in every zombie film they call them anything other than zombies, and they've never heard of zombies. Oh, one of the I call them the biters. We call them the ghouls, grabbers.
Loads of synonyms for zombie exist, but not that actual word.
No, not that one. They go. No one goes,
never call them zombies.
I've seen this. This is like that film I've seen. No one says that ever. Everyone always just goes, this is brand new information. People eating people? No. Yeah. Okay, so they're back in the house, and is this when they decide that they're going to get a gun?
Yeah, they're going to get the gun because, like any fine American holiday home, there is a gun stashed away just in a house, which I imagine sits abandoned most of the year. There's a full-on shotgun just chipping about in there. It's right, it's not dangerous. Your dad hides it.
the sequel kind of does the same sort of thing, doesn't it? I think this film and the sequel does the same thing where it goes, right, these people are being terrorized enough. We need them to fight back. The only way they're going to be able to do that is with a firearm. That seems like that's the only reason they do it. So yeah, he gets a shotgun, and then she say, "Do you know how to use that?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Oh, and it comes up as like another little blow to their relationship, which is already having a hard time if you haven't noticed. She goes, "I don't even know how to bloody load it." She goes, "I thought you said you went hunting with your dad," and he was like, "Yeah, that's just something I said."
He could have said anything, right? I mean, I'm not saying I'm a professional liar. I'm not saying that, but
said I'm under a lot of
you
pressure.
You could have easily gone, "Oh yeah, but that was years ago." Do you know how to load that shotgun? Yeah, but I haven't done it for 20 years. I can't really remember.
Really basic lie.
Hunting.
Yeah.
A really basic lie. Not in that moment do you have to unravel your whole persona of being this like hunting kid who went hunting with his dad. You go, "Well, I've just told you a terrible lie, actually," because then she's in her head, she's going, "Don't marry him," and put a little check mark next to that.
Another one.
Another
or
lie.
like really distracted from the situation and start going into like other things that may or may not have been lies. Have you even seen Last Tango in Paris? I haven't.
No,
Did you finish that
afraid
book
not,
I
no.
read you for your birthday, or did you just read the synopsis online?
I read the back. I read the back. Well, I just read the back. That was it.
The person that said hello to you really enthusiastically, Megan, who came and said hello to you really enthusiastically at the wedding, he said nothing had ever happened between you. Oh, yeah, it did. Oh, for fuck's sake. Scott Speedman. It's all coming unstuck.
It did. I gave her a foot massage, unfortunately. I did. A really oily one as well. Yeah,
it was before we met. I don't know why I lied about it.
I've told it. I just think, you know when certain bits of dialogue kind of just get a bit stuck, like, and you think, what would that happen? Like, I don't know. I feel like people under pressure, like, I mean, one thing you might say to her is like, "What's that got to do with anything? I'm trying to save our lives here. Why are you questioning me about the history of me and my dad? You know I'm sensitive about it."
Now is not the time.
I'll show you how good I am at using this thing. The second I even get a whisper of anyone coming here, I'm going to blow them away. I don't care who it is. They won't even get hello out of their mouths before I've shot them. So
but funny you should say that.
It doesn't even matter, right? I know I'm looking for a man with a sack on his head exclusively, and I could wait to make sure I see a man with a sack on his head. But I don't even care if I see a man without a sack on his head. He's also getting blown away, all right? She loads the gun for him as well, doesn't she? She loads the gun for him.
Yeah, so fair enough. I'll do this, shall I? But you make sure you learn how to pull the trigger. Did you do that with your dad in your non-existent hunting trips? Did you?
Pull the trigger. Make sure you pull the trigger. Just basically have your finger pretty much pull the trigger all the way back, so that when someone does, all you got to do is give it a little nudge.
Yeah.
Bang.
Yeah. You just I want this primed to go, and he goes, but yeah, unfortunately, outside Dennis Reynolds pulls up.
Yeah.
Not like the character to do a favor for someone.
When the second that they were in that room, like hunkered down in the corner, aiming the gun at the door, and he turns up, like, you just know, don't you? You just know.
Yeah. And he comes, and foolishly, I'd be running and screaming hello like I was the UPS man in that advert. I'd be like, hello. Like, I'd be going in there, but he's looking around. The house is a mess. The ice cream's still on the bloody counter. There's a song talking about how my mom tried her very best when I was just a bad kid. They've got their records on again.
Sackman's main theme.
Yeah, and then Sackman's creeping up behind Dennis Reynolds like the Hamburglar, like doing like a shh. Be very, very quiet.
Like winking at the camera.
He even like pretty much turns all the way around at one point, as if to say, like, you just thought, oh, he's seen him. But then he goes, actually, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to carry on.
But he mind palaces it and realizes it's going to happen because
this unbelievable, brutal last minute shot. This reminded me of the moment in Burn After Reading when Brad Pitt comes out the cupboard, and gets shot, like, what, immediately in the face. But I like it that we see him smiling before he gets shot. He comes out like, all right, bang. That was I'm pretty sure I saw that in the cinema, but that was one of my favorites. Like, oh my god, holy shit!
Like
what the fuck?
literally gasp. And it's the same watching
Yeah.
this film as well. Like, 'cause he's saying hello, but he gets as far as hell, and then in the cupboard, Scott Speedman just think, hell, where the devil lives. This must be a wrong one.
I haven't heard a Sack Man say a single word yet, but if I hear anyone saying anything, even the most familiar voice of my life that I probably heard the most.
I tell you what, he's gone too far. He's doing impressions of my brother now, unflattering ones at that. Boom. Shoot.
This is everything that went through his head in that moment. But he's not even convinced.
Everything goes through Dennis Reynolds' head is lots of buckshot, unfortunately, for him.
Yeah.
Do you know what? It makes me jump every time. Like, I know it's going to happen, but it's so fucking loud.
Yeah,
like, oh my god. Christ.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
What a scene.
And it is such a brutal. I mean, we get slow brutal
full on,
in this film later on, but yeah, like a proper whiplash, like a release of all the tension. This thing just happens, and it's in a terrible, terrible way. Yeah.
Oh, we forgot to mention that when his brother arrives, like the strangers like smash his windshield as well. I guess
they brick his windscreen. Oh,
they
so
brick
good
it,
at stuff at windshields.
I think that's a good.
Just love vandalism. Yeah.
They absolutely love vandalism.
They do. They're just like smashing everything, rear-ending cars, smashing things,
leaving ice cream out,
phones in fires. Honestly,
chucking phones yet.
So now after shooting his brother dead and like obviously being devastated as you would be, and making sure Liv Tyler didn't look at the body of your brother. Don't look. I've bloody got it. Again, if she was marking things next to "Don't marry him," I reckon she's had at least 50 next to
I know,
that.
because he's been a bit rough with her, because use your words, Scott Speedman. Just say, don't look, actually, that's a terrible sight. And now I think of it, he wasn't wearing a mask, was he?
We got to be honest, Scott Speedman, terrible in a crisis. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. You know, sometimes when you're in a crisis, you're like, I feel like being with you is making the situation worse than the actual situation.
I want to be so far if I just
not naming
walk
names
aimlessly into the distance.
See you later.
Away from Scott Speedman.
Yeah.
And then Scott Speedman, I feel like if I was with Scott Speedman in this moment and he turned to me and went, there's an old radio transmitter actually in the barn, I would go, fuck off. Go and get it yourself. There's an old radio transmitter. Oh, we're going to Morse code ourselves out of here, are we? You idiot.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Going to wire to the Pentagon, am I? Dear police,
I would literally just be like,
being murdered. Stop. Send help.
Like
Telegraph office.
In the IT crowd when he emails, fire.
Yeah. Fire!
Help,
exclamation mark.
Exclamation mark. Nice screensaver.
Yeah, so Scott Speedman, you want to be. I mean, who do you want in a crisis? I mean, if I think of capable, it's like competence porn. Like, what you want is Keanu Reeves from Speed. Easy, you want in a crisis. You want Tom Jane in Deep Blue Sea. He knows what's going on. He knows about the sharks. He knows how to outswim them.
Hello, Cool J in Deep Blue Sea. Hide in the
He's
oven.
a chef. The perfect omelette.
Hide in the oven. Oh, the oven's been switched on. Shit. You ate my bird. But basically, yeah, not Scott Speedman. I don't think you want Scott Speedman. I don't think you want Liv Tyler either, because she's a bit gaspy and like
she screams really loudly. It's like, girl, shut up.
Yeah.
Just alert everybody.
Like, now everybody in a mile radius knows where we are. If there's 100 strangers knocking about, they all know where we are right now. Cheers.
Got like a banshee scream. It's like, Jesus Christ. Or just run.
So he goes to the barn, I guess. I think when he leaves, he accounts. So we're calling the girl in the red dress Pin-Up Girl. Apparently, is her moniker. Dollface.
I mean, not a value anybody.
Man in the mask.
Everybody listening.
Yeah, no.
She's got other things going on.
Yeah. So I think he's searching the backyard with a flashlight. Oh, she's got loads of stuff. Well, we don't know. She's a silent type, isn't she? And I think what happens in the garden, I can't remember. I know he tries to shoot her, but the sack man like ambushes him and knocks him out, I think. And then the shotgun
Pops
gets like
up because I'm the
shotgun.
man.
The shotgun gets discharged again. For God's sake, Scott Speedman, control yourself. What did you do? Well, there was 2 targets out there: pin-up girl and man in a mask in the garden. And I fired the shotgun. Did you get either of them? No. I can only zone in on brothers and their heads.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've got an absolute one shot, 1 kill on that one. Whereas you should have, again, Scott Speedman played enough survival horror. If he'd been Resident Evil style, he could have stood still, pointed it upwards, and waited for them both to be really close.
He should have just done that. If only he knew.
Say, unfortunately, they don't make the mistake of saying hello, so he can't zero in on them. His targeting is based on voices.
Amazing. What is he like? The Don't Breathe man or something?
Yeah. You don't say anything. He's fine. He's like a reverse T-Rex.
What a man. So yeah,
Can't
I think
hear you if you don't speak.
Liv Tyler hears the shot. She runs out to the barn. I think this is all kind of blurring into one a bit. This next
it goes quick because basically Scott Speedman disappears till he gets like wazzed into the kitchen later on, battered. So he's out of it for a bit now. It's a lot of Liv Tyler focused.
Elizabeth Tyler. Oh yeah, that's right. So he's knocked out. I think Pinup Girl ends up smashing the radio with an axe.
Yeah, she gets a bit of radio out first though, right? She gets to do. She gets the gate kept, doesn't she? Because she's like going, "Hello, can anyone hear me?" And then someone's on the radio. Aren't we supposed to say over? Actually, over.
Wait, is that
bloody amateurs? Ham radio enthusiasts.
Does that happen or not? Does that happen? No. See, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she does a little bit of like you hear like squelchy voices, and then it's like, is anybody there? And then before she gets it, is it Pinup Girl or is it Kid Murderer?
Kid Murderer? Which one's Kid
Murderer? Like, the one that's a kid.
Kid Murderer. What?
Yeah.
Is she a kid?
No.
She's the youngest in the family of the strangers. She's the kid.
I don't know. When you said kid earlier, I kind of thought you meant Dollface for some reason. So what you're thinking is
Dollface. That's
they're a family.
Oh,
I thought you meant Pinup. Sorry. So in terms of a family, you're thinking Pinup is the mum, Sackman is the dad, Dollface is the kid.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
If they were the 3 bears, that's mummy, daddy, and baby.
Yeah. Why not? If that makes it easier for you to remember them.
Maybe that'll be in The Strangers chapter 1. You'll see them having their porridge and understand how they all like it.
Yeah.
You understand why they choose the mask they like the most.
3 little beds.
No, I don't like it.
Different chairs. Because you look at those 3 in the background, Ben. You tell me that you don't picture them having 3 chairs like the 3 little bears.
They definitely do. One of them's got porridge that's too hot. One of them's got porridge that's too cold.
I mean, that's a minefield. Why would you not cook all the porridge in one pot all at the same time? It should all be of equal temperature.
I say more difficult to get that going on, unless they're all so fussy. You have to do it separately.
Separate pots. Just base it on the flavors. Anyway, this 3 bears of murderers is not done with them yet, so she's doing the radio, and then I think it is Dollface comes and smashes it up with the it is Pinup, gets up and smashes it all with the baseball bat. She stands and watches her do it for an awfully extended period of time without attacking her.
Yeah. She just wants to make sure, because I reckon she thought James's idea of the radio was so bad that she wanted the radio to be smashed up, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm glad.
I'll make sure it's definitely ultimately destroyed."
Yeah, I'm glad. What a loser. Of course he's unconscious at the moment I need him the most. What a fool. So when she goes back into the house, I think Dollface is like taunting her with a knife. And that is when...
Oh, yeah, she's like scratching the table, isn't she? Says, don't bother me, mate. It's not my house.
Exactly. And I think that's when Man in the Mask, not Gas Man, Sack Man, is when he knocks her out, knocks her unconscious. And this is when dawn arrives. And usually in horror movies, when dawn arrives, everything feels nice. And finally, the sun is up, I'm at ease. I feel like we've escaped the horrors of the night. But no, the horrors are just beginning. Because Kristen and James are both tied to chairs in the living room. The intruders are standing before them, just like my background, presenting themselves in a way. And obviously they take their masks off as well. And I feel like this is because they genuinely want to see the reactions up close as they kill these people, because they seem to, when they commit these murders in this one and in the sequel, they like to be right up close. It seems they're really fascinated by like blood and like the act of sharp objects going into bodies. And also I kind of thought, well, when they take the mask off, I wouldn't think, oh, we might get away. I'd think we're definitely gonna die now because they've taken the mask off.
Don't you let me go, I haven't seen your face.
Yeah, oh, I've seen your face. Got it.
And they have to say, look,
it's like a weird bit of power play, isn't it? It's kind of like, I'm gonna kill you now, but here, hello, this is what I look like. It's quite ominous. Actually, I like that little. And like I said at the beginning, like before we started recording, probably, like, it's the fact that we don't see it. That's cool. I enjoyed that.
That is cool.
Because we kind of see them like from the side or like just from behind.
We see the hair and we see
like little bits. It's not like enough. It's great.
No, I do like it though. It's good. I would prefer,
it's like slightly obscured.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
And I think the acts of like these murders as well, like, are proper horrible. I think there's something about them where it doesn't feel like Hollywood and cinematic, like a horror film anymore. Like, it just feels like kind of quite nasty. Like, just
it's like a horrible, slow, brutal stab, isn't it? And they all take it in turns.
That's kind of why it reminded me of Zodiac in a way. Maybe because it was the daylight situation of it. It was the helplessness situation of it. And the fact that there's like a couple kind of like almost communicating to each other right next to each other. They both know that they're gonna die. But
and she's put the engagement ring on.
Oh, did she?
Unless the murderers put it on her. She does try it on before the terrorizing begins. I'm not sure if she keeps it on, but just trying it on for size, maybe, to see what it'd be like.
It's definitely on when they're tied to the chairs. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're together, they're holding hands. They have a moment of being together. No thanks to you, Scott Speedman. You could have done so much more to help them escape. But yeah, they then they both get stabbed. The unmasked killers walk off to their car. They see some boys delivering some pamphlets. Do you want one of these? Are you a sinner? So a bit presumptive, isn't it?
Like, half of it.
Not for me to say, really, is it? I'm not in your religion yet, so like I don't know what's qualified. I mean, does stabbing a couple up count? You just check. I will take that, and I'll see if I'm a sinner. I'll get back to you.
Before they left the house, though, Kirsten, when she was pleading with them, she did say, like, why are you doing this? Not that would help. And they said, oh, because you were home.
Because you were home,
yeah. What do you think that means? Is that literally that this was a complete act of like a random act?
Yeah, it's kind of, it's the famous line from this film, and I think it's kind of left intentionally vague. I think it was just, they didn't even want to give them a satisfactory answer, and they were just like, you were there, we were bored, whatever. But it could be a wider thing. It could be, you know, like you said it like earlier, Andy, like they were targeting like affluent neighborhoods. Maybe it was that, but it's not really explicitly said. But that's part of the beauty of this film, is that you don't know why.
In the sequel, Dollface gets unmasked, and when they ask her the same question, she says, "Why not?"
Yeah, it's the indifference, isn't it?
Yeah. It kind of made me feel like, you know, like Joker in The Dark Knight, he's got his origin story is different no matter who he talks to. He says like, "Do you want to know?" I got
Dollface is like the Edmund Hillary of murders. Like, why do you climb Mount Everest? Because it's there. Like, why do you do killings? Well, you know.
Well, there ain't nothing on TV these days, is there? You know what I mean?
Ain't no youth clubs.
No youth clubs, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So
if there was, I'd be fine.
My take on this was, again, I think it's a little bit of inspiration from, yes, it's the random nature, and it's like, you know, that it isn't personal. It is, you know, it's a completely random attack based on who they could find. I think it also maybe leans into the, you know, the real life crimes that this is based on. This is exactly what they did in the Manson family murders. They went around knocking people's doors. If no one answered the door, they moved on to the next house. it's probably what this is potentially inspired by a little bit. So they knocked on people's doors and wait till they find someone who is home and, like people did in those days, answer the door.
Yeah. And yeah, as you mentioned, obviously when they're leaving, they sort of talk to the little Mormon boys. Well, that's what it listed as anyway, Mormon boys. And they go to the house, and obviously they discover the bodies. What's weird is Kristen like sort of crawls when she's not quite dead. She crawls and like sort of dies next to James's brother.
No, I thought she was next to James. They were like in a little pile. And then
I remember she does crawl like next to him at one point, but
are there two cuts of this, everybody? Because it looked to me like Kirsten was just poorly. She does a scream at the end.
Oh yeah, she did a big scream at the end. Oh, she loves the big scream, doesn't she? Scares
yeah, the big scream.
Little boys. Hello, are you all right?
Literally.
So, what's our take on this? Did she, we don't get a bit of text that says Kirsten died on the way to hospital. Do you think she's fine?
I think if you've got someone tied up in front of you and your sole intention is to kill them, you got to mess that up pretty badly to leave them alive. I'm not saying they're bad at their jobs, but they're not great. They do it in the sequel as well. Stab a man in a swimming pool. I think he's definitely dead. He bloody lives as well.
Yeah, he's fine. He's at hospital at the end.
He's fine. He's just poorly. Yeah, but then again, is that intentional? Are they doing these things to? Is the act of killing?
There's a new trilogy coming up, Ben, or you could do a proper legacy sequel. You leave it. I mean, we're already what years did this come out, Ben? 2004 was it?
2008.
2008. So we are, we're already past the 10 years. Like we're not too far of a 20-year anniversary. You wait till the end of this trilogy, you can have Liv Tyler with grey hair this time, coming back H2O style. So you made me poorly 20 years ago and killed a man that I was probably not going to marry. Now, for the last 20 years, I have waited for a dreadful revenge
all this time.
Strangers. And this time, they're not strangers because she'll know all about them. She'll have researched them, got their Facebook. She'll know all of their
She's
things.
got little mannequins of the strangers in her garden that pop up and she shoots them with a shotgun. She's better with a shotgun than James.
She knows how to load it too with her eyes closed.
She knows exactly how to load it. Yeah, so that's it. That's the end. That is The Strangers. Obviously, I know we mentioned the sequel a little bit. I guess we just talk about that just a tad. Not the story so much, but just how much. I think it's got a bit of a cult following as far as I can tell. A lot of people kind of say it's on a par with the original. Some people say it's better. Some people say it's terrible. It's worse. Awful. I, in a kind of a weird way, enjoyed it. To maybe it's because it was like a fresh first time watch for me, whereas I'd seen The Strangers before, so I kind of knew what to expect. But I found it kind of a little bit. It was weird. It was almost like an 80s horror movie masquerading. Sorry, no, like a mid 2000s movie masquerading as an 80s movie. I could just keep imagining it in an 80s setting. And I mean, I am a bit of a sucker for a power ballad, regardless of the context. It did feel like they were just kind of just shoved into this film. But I still thought it was kind of interesting. I thought the fact that, I mean, I didn't expect, and again, spoilers for The Strangers Prey at Night, I didn't expect any of the major characters, the major antagonists to die, and they all did. So that was kind of a bit of a shock. I don't think like the protagonist characters are really great, or I do like Christina Hendricks when she's in stuff, but she didn't get much to do, did she? I kind of liked the thought. I liked the thought of her being a final girl, but she wasn't. I kind of think it was probably, it took the concept as far as it could take it, though. That's the only problem I thought, which is why I'm thinking about this next trilogy. Like, what are they going to do? Because I feel like we've kind of exhausted the level of which it could do. Like, all right, imagine there's strangers at your house. Oh, that's terrifying. Imagine there's strangers at kind of like a Butlins, but it's deserted.
A neon Butlins.
A neon, but imagine a neon Butlins. Oh yeah,
out of season. Yeah.
So who knows what next is going to be? It's going to be taking place at Fort Park in the day. I don't know. On a busy Fort Park day. What did you think, Andy?
You can see the budget that's come into it. It feels like it's got a little bit more polish behind it. Not, I think it's just a bit. I didn't feel like it look like they spent more or less money on it. I have to look it up, but like it feels like it's a little bit more Hollywood. You've got needle drops that aren't like the old timey songs. You've got like, I guess they are quite old songs, but like, you know what I mean? You've got like input, more recognizable, more up to date music. You have like in just the way that the titles delivered, it feels like there's a little bit more like film production that's gone into this one. But
yeah,
having an entire family made it, I think, you lose a bit of the focus and you don't build so much tension because you, for the pacing of a movie, they're trying to get people killed off in you know, in that speed. And I also find it took me out of it a little bit that you have, you know, 4 families worth, you know, a family of 4's worth of phones to conveniently have to eliminate all the time.
I just got smashed up at the same point.
Yeah, so contrivances were there. I kind of like that there was a toll on the murderers at times as a way to kind of wrap it up. But yeah, that was my take. I'm with Lucy. I think that the originality of the first one probably carries it a little bit further for me. But I didn't dislike it. I wasn't like, oh, yawn. It was fine. How about you, Lucy? I know you weren't a huge fan.
Sorry, I'm not jumping in there. I didn't want to say. All I want to say is I think maybe I might need to think about it a bit more. Maybe I enjoyed the sequel just a little bit more than the original. That might be horrible. I'm sorry.
Controversial.
Yeah, that's mad. I mean, I think obviously we mentioned who the director was. I think he does have a following, so I think fans of his were going to like it regardless. I do like his work. I think 47 Meters Down is very good. This is one of those films where I'm like, it should have just stayed as a sort of standalone piece, and a standalone piece that felt low budget and gritty, whereas the more cinematic, out there nature of the second one felt like it wasn't really a Strangers film because it was too like, you know, because the first one was just 2 people in a house getting terrorized by 3 figures, which was just more engaging for me, whereas the second one was like, let's put it in like a holiday camp and whatever. Like, I don't know. It just didn't work for me. Just wasn't like a cup of tea. But that's all right.
I'm going to put this to you, Lucy. Would you like that film more if they are completely uncorrected strangers? If it's just called Pray at Night, not The Strangers, and it's just 3 completely unconnected people, would you have liked that film more? Because it feels like this could have been a brilliant copy insert, because apart from the recognizable masks, other than that, there doesn't need to be a connection with the original. Would you think you've looked at it more favorably?
Honestly, yeah. I think that's kind of the sad thing about it, though, is that if it was just another original idea, that would have been great. But it's the fact that they were trying to sort of cash in on the Strangers name, just didn't really do it for me. I feel like a film like The Strangers needs to be a bit, like, I don't want to say shitty, it's the wrong word, but like a bit
lo-fi, a little bit
dark and yeah, like dark and whatever. Like, it's just, I don't know.
Have like a bit of a grubby indie feel to it, with like not a huge cast, not a
exactly.
Not a huge number of locations. It felt a bit spaced out because it felt like that camp was in the middle of nowhere, and you could have just noped out and ran in a direction into the middle of nowhere if you'd wanted to. There was no way that 3 people could have kept tabs on you as an entire family.
Yeah, this is the problem, I think, obviously, with the home invasion aspect of the first one, is that they haven't really got far to go and they're sort of more isolated, which is what I like about The Strangers. Whereas the second one, like you say, you could have just scarpered and that was it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just harsh with sequels.
No, I think it's fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah. If it was just a film that was just here's 3 people, 4 people, whatever, terrorizing a bunch of, that would have been more interesting to me. Yeah.
I mean, now you mention it though, maybe this is what the third one does. Oh, the new series that's coming. You could, in theory, make these films that they never have any connection. You could make any one that the only thematic thing you have the same is that you have 3 people in masks. I mean, by the time you get to 5, you're going to need to introduce a baby or something, I guess, Scrappy Doo style. But like, you could just say, like,
oh, bloody baby stranger.
For like round 1, the strangers won. Round 2, the strangers all get killed, but they do kill 3 members. No, only 2 members of the family. So technically, on scoring, The Strangers lost that one. It's 3-2. But you could have just inexplicably in the new one 3 strangers, all the same. Nothing has to be connected. You could make this basically an anthology, and the strangers are just a thing that appear, and it's a completely different scenario. Antarctic base, bottom of the sea, the moon, Hawaii. Like you could do something like that and just have completely thematic links but no narrative ones. I'd kind of be up for that.
Yeah.
And the strangers are because they could be anybody.
Could be bloody anyone, couldn't they?
I'm on board the strangers crew.
I mean, I guess we, on that note, we need to rate the film. But I don't know if you got any name game before that, Andy. I've not really.
I've got a couple of episodes of the
Have
name
you?
game for you, Ben. It's been a couple of weeks. We've not been together for a while. So I've got a couple of name games for you. What's the synopsis?
Oh God, good question. I've closed that window down, haven't I? Well, the synopsis is: a young couple staying in an isolated vacation home are terrorized by 3 unknown assailants.
Okay. So a young couple, and this is the first one for you. A young couple spending some time at a holiday home, get a mysterious knock on the door, and it's a big bald man in a beam of light who wants them to take on mysterious powers to fight an evil sorceress.
It's Zordon, isn't it?
It is Zordon. So what are they?
What? The Rangers.
The Rangers. Very good.
The Rangers.
I'll have accepted the Power Rangers. Do you want Ben?
Well, I don't want to. Well, I'm not going to say it's the same answer. However. Okay, so this one is. What's the synopsis again? I've closed the window down again. There's something wrong with me.
It's a couple visit holiday
mad.
home.
A young couple staying on an isolated vacation home are terrorized by a football team from Glasgow.
Celtic, no. Arctic Thistle. No. Is it Glasgow Rangers?
It's Glasgow Rangers, and then they go, "Oh, leave us alone." But then a few minutes later, another team turn up from London.
West Ham?
Batter 'em. Not West Ham, not the Millwall. Another team from London. Are they from London? I think they're from London. Another team from London who wear blue and white hoops. Not in the Premier League currently.
No, I mean.
Fuck all about football, Ben. I'm like Pro Evolution Soccer. Is it Manchester Red?
I mean, all I know is the Premier League. That's it.
It is the Queen's Park Rangers.
Oh my God. Fuck's sake. Nobody calls them that. They call them QPR.
I know they do, but for the sake of this name game, I decided to go to Rangers.
Okay.
Look, it's 10:30. I blanked on their name. All right.
Okay.
It's fine.
So
we'll let you off.
Here's another one for you. Require no sports knowledge. So a couple visiting a holiday home find themselves absolutely terrified by some bad uns that come to get them, but they manage to hide themselves in a little container for keeping straw to feed animals or a baby Jesus in.
The mangers.
The mangers.
Yeah. Very good. You got another one, Ben?
Do I have another one? Good question. So yeah, okay. Well, it might have to be the last one.
I got one.
A young couple staying in an isolated vacation home are terrorized by 3 unknown assailants, but they should have known not to open the door to these people because their mum and dad or parent or guardian would have told them never to do it. We've all been told about this when we're younger. Don't speak to
stranger dangers.
It's the stranger dangers. Correct.
Yeah.
My last one is a couple they're away in a holiday home and they get absolutely terrorized by a family who have lost their minds after their daughter pissed off to wizard school and never comes back to visit in the holidays anymore.
The Grangers.
The Grangers, correct.
Oh God, yeah. That's good.
And having confirmed there, no other words rhyme with strangers that I'm aware of.
Yeah, that's it. That is literally it. That's all the words that rhyme with strangers.
Cool.
Brilliant. What a great addition of the name game. We need to rate the movie A to F. Pluses and minuses are allowed. Lucy, would you like to start us off?
Yeah, I'll put it right in the middle at a C because I love this film. I acknowledge it's got some stupid flaws and you can make fun of it and whatever, but it's a solid entry into the home invasion slasher genre, and I think the watchability is great, the sound design's great, the overall it's just a good one to watch with people. And I think I will always revisit it, and I'm happy that you got me on to talk about it.
Yes.
So straight in the middle, put it at a C, yeah.
Very nice.
Amazing.
Which I often do.
That is very middling. I thought you would have gone higher than that for some reason.
No, because it's one of those where, like, I know I said that I enjoy it, but like I fully acknowledge that it's not like a masterpiece kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's sort of it's fine, and fine is good. Fine is good.
Yeah,
fine is good. Andy, where would you like to go?
Go ever so slightly higher. I think I'm going to go for a C+ on this one because, yeah, I think it does a lot of really cool things. You know, there's tropey elements to it. There's bits that can be frustrating to think, oh, you'd have escalated this by now, and you'd be trying to actually get them. But it's a real pressure cooker to start with. I like it that you just have a couple of characters. You know, there are, you know, with apart from Dennis Reynolds, who's only with us for a couple of months, here for a good time, not a long time. But you know, there's so much work put into the tension that you get for these individual characters being tormented, and it probably gets a little boost by the fact that it was preceded and definitely influenced, probably with hindsight now, a nothing event, but at the time, one of the scariest moments I remember living in, that the strangers were after me.
Are you the strangers out there?
Yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna go for a C+ on this one. It's astounding that it's been this long before I got round to watching it again. But yeah, some really cool stuff.
Amazing.
How about you,
I'm
Ben?
gonna have to go for a C-. Mainly because, as I said, I've seen it before, so like the way it panned out, it didn't really do anything for me this time. I think it's definitely a good film to watch once. I think if you watch it more than once, you kind of, I don't know. Also, like, I guess I've seen a lot of the home invasion movies, so you're always kind of trying to pick them apart in your head, really. Which is why maybe I had a slightly better time with the sequel. I don't know why, just because there was had a bit of style to it, and maybe after this film, which is quite like it's not the nicest watch, really, is it? Like, it doesn't end in a particularly, like, there's no one really fighting back in any successful way. There's no like moment, there's no hope or anything like that for that these people are maybe going to get out of this. It's just a brutal, sort of nasty film, isn't it? But which is
it
fine.
comes to something when the most amount of hope is, oh, she's all right, she's put the engagement ring on. That's the nicest
put the engagement
hope
ring
moment
back
you
on.
got.
It's fine. The most amount of hope was when he said, there's an old radio in the barn. Thank God for that. Get out there.
I mean, I guess, Ben, you could compare it to a film we mentioned a few weeks ago, Funny Games. It makes this looks like a laugh a minute.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Oh, I do love Funny Games, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Christ,
you'd welcome the strangers in, wouldn't you? Be like, lads, get in.
Get in here.
I know.
I tell you what, always depend on the kindness of strangers comparatively than those horrible, seemingly polite German lads.
God, yeah.
There we go then. I think average it. So looks like we're averaging it a C across the board for that.
Averaging it a C across the middle. You got Ben who says,
right.
It's all right. Lucy says, it's all right. And I say, it's all right. Slightly higher tone of
slightly higher tone. Great. Brilliant. So thanks so much for joining us again, Lucy. It's been a pleasure. Maybe join us for The Strangers Chapter 1 if we decide to do a mainline episode on that in May.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Sure.
Where can our listeners find you online? I mean, we'll put it in the show notes as well, of course, but it's good to know as well.
So I'm on Twitter at Lucy Jade Buglass, and then Instagram is just Lucy Buglass.
Nice.
Amazing. Wonderful. We'll put that in the show notes. So yeah, thanks so
Thanks.
much for joining us.
Don't pigeonhole yourself to just strangers related content now, Lucy. If you want to come and see any small killers again, tell you what, Ben, Leprechaun 2 could be happening.
Oh god.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely
we really
not.
do need to. Yeah, so thank you everybody for listening. If you enjoyed the show, become a patron over at patreon.com/horror hangout. Thanks to our current patrons. Thanks to Taj Easton for our theme music. Thanks to Acast for hosting the show. Please consider giving us a rating or review. And head over to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Discord. We're all over the place. Just search Horror Hangout Podcast. You will find us. Next week. Is it the last episode of the month next week already? Can't not believe it.
Episode in February already, and we have an absolute screamer to finish on, if I do say so myself.
We sure do. Another returning guest. This month has been all about returning guests. Alice Taylor Matthews is coming back to the show to discuss Frankenhooker, which will be an absolute riot.
Absolute treat from all sorts of things. Wonderful guest, a wonderful film. What a time.
What a time to be alive. And of course, today has been absolutely great as well. So thank you so much, Lucy.
My pleasure.
You, Andy. Thank you, Andy.
Thanks very much, everybody. Bye for now. Bye. Don't answer the door, for goodness sake, please.
Just don't bother. That's what I would say. Don't answer the door, whatever it takes. And also, don't even bother proposing. Don't bother proposing.
No one's been killed by
strangers
by not answering the door.
It's true. See you later. Okay.
One thing you must do, though, put the fucking ice cream away if you're bloody good, please.
Put the ice cream in the freezer on your way out, for God's sake. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.